2 between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Atlanta Braves from Turner Field in Atlanta, Georgia, as the Cardinals look to make it 2 wins in a row. A project in 08 for Dave Duncan. His starter tonight, Todd Wellemeyer.
In his case, you know, I thought I put it to him pretty simple. I just said, who are you in everybody's eyes? And I said, who I think you are, without knowing you, as a guy that throws 97 that isn't a very good pitcher. And I said, you know, there's a lot of talent there. I said, you may be a real good pitcher at 92 or 93 if you can command your fastball at that velocity. And so he bought in on trying to find the effort level that he could control the ball, and he's made big improvements in that area.
Todd Wellemeyer's looking for win number 9. What a great season he has had so far. That's Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Al, we talked about it last night during the telecast. Dave Duncan has particular projects, it seems like, every year. This one this year is Todd Wellemeyer. So far, so good.
Well, remember when he came to our ball club, 3 different organizations have given up on him. He was a thrower. And Dave was a very frank discussion, sat there and said, you know, you're not a good pitcher when you throw 97 miles an hour and cannot control your fastball. So he bought into it, backing down, becoming a 92, 93 mile an hour fastball. He has a good slider. He's got the changeup, but it all starts with fastball command. You cannot be a pitcher at this level if you cannot control the fastball.
Wellemeyer catches a break tonight. Mark Teixeira just traded about an hour before game time tonight, so he's not in the lineup. Now, last night in Game 1, the Cardinals' bats busted out. It has been a while. It's been about a week or so since we've seen this kind of offensive explosion.
Well, 12 hits, 12 runs for the Cardinals on 13 hits. But look what they did with runners in scoring position, and they really put on a clinic of taking advantage of high throws and taking extra bases.
Campillo, a right-hander, will get the start for the Atlanta Braves. Very good changeup. And for the Cardinals, it is Todd Wellemeyer. When we come back, we'll talk about the managers in this ballgame. 2 future Hall of Famers, Tony La Russa for the St. Louis Cardinals, Bobby Cox on the other side for the Braves. Game 2 just around the corner. Back in Atlanta, where the Cardinals will take on the Braves. It is game number 2 tonight here on FSN Midwest. 2 of the game's finest managers go toe-to-toe tonight. 13th season for Tony La Russa in St. Louis. Bobby Cox, 23 years now in Atlanta. And now that's a look at 2 great managers in our Ford Key matchup.
2 managers, 3rd and 4th, all-time on the win list. The 2 most active managers on the win list. Tony La Russa tinkers with his lineup constantly. Bobby Cox more of a set lineup, but both of them are very much in control of the clubhouse.
The Braves have made some changes with their lineup tonight with the big trade of Mark Teixeira. How will that affect game 2? We're about to find out. It's the Cardinals and the Braves coming up on FSN. It was lucky number 13 in game 1 last night as the Cardinals pounded out 13 hits to win 12-3. It was a rough week of games, and the Redbirds took their frustrations out on the Atlanta Braves in game 1 of their 4-game series. Bobby Cox has seen his team hit with a rash of injuries as they try and hang tough in the National League East. For the Cardinals, they are starting to get healthier, and while many are anticipating tomorrow's start from Chris Carpenter, it's game 2 tonight with right-hander Todd Wellemeyer. The Cardinals and the Braves, game number 2, next on FSN Midwest. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. Endless refreshment from start to finish. Bud Light keeps it coming. By Auto Tire, for the lowest prices in town with 26 locations to serve you. You ought to go to Auto Tire, the tire pros. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Geico Direct, a 15-minute phone call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Southwest Airlines. With Southwest Airlines, you're now free to be more productive. Visit southwest.com. They call that area there that we just showed you the Chop House area, which is an area that's owned and run by Anheuser-Busch. Good folks at AB. First pitch to Skip Schumacher was a strike. He's in the leadoff spot again and playing center field. There's a high fly ball out to right. Al, that looked to be a changeup, and our understanding is that Campillo, the starter for the Braves, at any point in the count, he will throw that changeup.
Yes, and he has 2 or 3 different varieties, including a screwball.
Let's take a look at the Cardinals lineup, and it's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It'll be Schumacher, Mather, and Albert Pujols in the first, followed by Ludwig, Gloss, and Molina. Ryan, Wellemeyer, and Isturis. Third career home run last night to go along with 3 hits and a triple shy of the cycle last night for Joe Mather. Moves up in the lineup for Tony La Russa. He's in the second spot. And Campillo, as we talked about, Al, in the pregame show, Campillo is going on a short day's rest.
Well, he started Sunday's ball game, but just went a little more than an inning. Then it was a 2-hour rain delay. And so he should be fine for this start. And with a guy like a changeup or a guy that works a lot of off-speed pitches, I think that'll have no effect at all.
A Rico starter, Jorge Campillo, 14th start. He's 5-4. Very good ERA of 2.78.
Very interesting. He signed back in '96 with the Atlanta Braves. They loaned him to the Mexican League in Mexico City, released by the Braves in '97, and then he was with Mexico City from '97 through '04. Seattle signs him. Last year he led the Pacific Coast League in ERA. Signed again with the Braves as a minor league free agent.
And Mather pops one up into center field. Mark Kotsay is there for out number 2. Good start for Campillo. The defense behind this right-hander and for Bobby Cox's Atlanta Braves, as we go around the horn, is brought to you by Auto Tire. Jeff Francoeur, 7 assists this season, third most by a right fielder in the National League. He's in right, Kotsay in center. Blanco is in left. Infante, Escobar, Johnson all along the infield, and Corky Miller is behind the plate. First baseman initially was to be Mark Teixeira, but now it is Greg Norton. Teixeira has been traded to the Angels.
And a short bench for Bobby Cox because, 1, he doesn't have his traded Mark Teixeira, and 2, Brian McCann is still not eligible to play. Not on the disabled list, but with that concussion.
It's a tough go around here in a year's time for the Atlanta Braves. Normally they're the ones that are so aggressive in picking up talent for the stretch run. First time in a number of years that Bobby Cox has seen his team as a seller. There's another fly ball, so 3 fly ball outs for Joe here in the top of the first, and the Braves coming up in their half of the first against Todd Wellemeyer. No score here at Turner Field. Light rain here at the ballpark as we move to the bottom of the first. The Cardinals did not take batting practice. Atlanta did, and here's their lineup as we highlight Yunel Escobar. 6 games against the Cardinals, and he's 7 for 22. Took over for Edgar Renteria here with the Atlanta Braves. Blanco, Escobar, and Kotsay in the first. Then Norton, Infante, and Johnson, Francoeur, Miller, and Campillo, the pitcher, batting ninth. The Rico starter for the Cardinals is Todd Wellemeyer.
Well, Todd, been tough of late. He's pitched 5 innings or less in 5 of his last 7 starts. He does have a very good road ERA, 11th best in the National League at 3.31, and he's trying to win his 9th ball game. Usually does keep the team in the game, as Cardinals have won 18 of his last 30 starts, or since he's joined the ball club.
You heard that soundbite with Dave Duncan. That was an interview I conducted yesterday, and he was pretty open and honest about his conversation with Todd Wellemeyer once they acquired the big right-hander. Sacrifice velocity for location and movement.
Well, a lot of times, you know, Dave Duncan will watch somebody from when he's on another ball club and say, you know, this guy's an underachiever. Boy, I like his talent, but not the way he pitches. And sometimes after you've been, you know, turned away from 3 other organizations, you're ready to listen.
Blanco hits from this side of the plate only. He's not a switch hitter. Their left fielder hitting .262, 1 home run and 24 RBIs. Mentioned that Teixeira is not in this lineup, and you're looking at a team with no Chipper Jones, no Brian McCann. Tim Hudson was to start tonight. He is hurt with an elbow injury. No Tom Glavine, no Smoltz. And so if you look at this 4-game series, in my opinion, Al, you've got to take 3 of 4, if not try to go for a sweep.
Well, you win this game, you try and win as many as you can, but you're right. They have a golden opportunity to pick up games on Milwaukee or the Cubs. And
3-2.
And you know, right after the Cardinals leave here, Milwaukee's coming in here, and so they're going to be having an opportunity to beat up on this Braves team that's just decimated with injury.
3-2 pitch is pop fouled out of play. Had a crowd of just about 26,000 here last night, and a good portion of that crowd Cardinal fans. So a lot of the Cardinal fans at the very end of the game. Last 3 outings for Wellemeyer. 2 of those games 6 in the 3rd. Then Thursday against Milwaukee, a no decision as he went 5 innings. There's a grounder up the middle. Ryan backhands, throws to first, makes it close but safe with good speed is Blanco. A base hit for Gregor Blanco, the left fielder.
His team leading 21st infield hit.
Brings in Escobar, and let's take a look at the Cardinals defense, brought to you by Auto Tire. We'll highlight Skip Schumacher, 29th game in center field. He has a .981 fielding percentage. Mathers in left, Ludwig in right. Gloss, Isturis, Ryan and Pujols along the infield, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate. So again, no Ricky Ankiel in center field. And I asked Tony La Russa in his office today about Ankiel, and he said he could pinch hit, but he can't run. And they're getting more concerned by the day with this stomach issue that Ankiel is dealing with. And it's unfortunate because he's been swinging a hot bat. That's deep into center. Schumacher with room on the track and makes the catch. You can actually see the puddles that have gathered out there on the track in the outfield. They did work on the sides and behind home plate, but not actually in the field of play, which is a little bit surprising from one foul pole to the next.
Oh, they never worry about anything other than the infield, particularly the mound and the batter's box. There is a light rain falling right now and a forecast for another storm to come through.
Here's Mark Kotsay, the center fielder for Atlanta, takes the spot that was occupied by Teixeira. As well as Anaheim, the Angels have played this year, and they've played great baseball. They need some help offensively. It's not a great offensive club. They are 10th in slugging percentage. This may surprise you. 11th in on-base percentage, 9th in home runs, and 9th in runs scored. So they need a little firepower, and they get arguably the best bat that's out there to be traded, and that's Teixeira.
They get a better bat, but probably the better player comes to the Atlanta Braves, and they have control of them for the next 3 years.
And you wonder about Bobby Cox, what's going through his mind. I mean, you look at 1991, that's when it all started up until 2005, and they were players for postseason play the last couple of seasons, but this year doesn't look like they have a real good shot to get back in it. 7.5 games out, and they sell off their best chip, and that's Teixeira.
Well, yesterday they end up putting their best player and their best pitcher on the disabled list, and reality sets in. They've got 3 clubs ahead of them.
Yeah, a little easier, doesn't it?
And you don't feel that Florida, Mets, or Philly are going to come back to them.
Foul tip held on to by Molina. Chipper Jones, who was out with a hamstring problem, .369 average to lead the National League. Brian McCann, 20 home runs. He was tied for the most home runs with Teixeira. Tim Hudson, 11 wins, leading the Braves, 11th in all of baseball. So you're missing those guns. And like you said, Al, reality sets in. 1-2 on Kotsay.
Kotsay's been swinging a hot bat last 13 games, but you know he's had issues on the DL with a strained lower back. You look at half the guys that are healthy for the Braves have come off the disabled list, and the other half are on.
1-2 the count with 1 out and a runner at first base. Cardinals turned 3 double plays last night, and Looper looked to be as good as we've seen him in quite some time. He hadn't won a game since June 24th, and he was getting ground balls. He had 8 ground ball outs last night.
Well, he had, by omission, he said that he didn't have his off-speed pitches the way he wanted it, but he had a good fastball working, commanded the lower half of the zone, and got those ground balls.
And remember what Dave Duncan said to us, the off-speed pitch would be a key tonight for Wellemeyer.
Well, you have to command the fastball and pitch ahead in the count, and then you'll get guys to expand the zone and go after, your very good slider or the changeup.
You wonder how busy GMs are this time of year. John Mozeliak just popped into our booth before the first pitch. He said this is the first time he has seen daylight since a run at 8 a.m. this morning. He said he's been basically holed up in his room and taking phone calls. He said he got his first phone call around 9:15, 9:30. He's been on the phone all day. And he was looking for a charger last night for his phone.
Yeah, he had to borrow your charger. He brought his tonight, but
he's busy.
It's a fun time of year for general managers.
And for fans, too. I think fans, you know, they get a kick out of what may happen with potential trades.
Well, and gives them a chance to second guess.
Milwaukee, of course, had Sabathia going last night. He takes a no decision, still undefeated since the trade from Cleveland to Milwaukee as they lost that game late. Solomon Torres, a couple of walks late in that game, cost them. Derek Lee, the go-ahead hit in RBI, and the Cubs took game 1. Another great matchup tonight. Sheets is going for Milwaukee.
Well, it's fun. Just let those two just whack away at each other. Hopefully the Cardinals win and pick up another game on one of them.
Sobrano going for Chicago. The 2-2 pitch with a runner at first is popped up. There's Cesar Izturis on the outfield grass. Now steps in on the dirt and makes the catch. And there's 2 away. By the way, Izturis is back to being a switch hitter. Tony La Russa was telling me that before the game. I said, what's the deal? I'm trying to figure this out. The sidewinders, I'm seeing him go to the left side, and then with guys that are more 3/4 or over the top right-handers, we see him hit from the left side, or rather from the right side. He said, yeah, that's just a 1-week thing. So he's back to being a switch hitter.
And he had a good offensive night last night.
Here's Greg Norton, the first baseman. There's talk that one of Yadier's brothers could be on the move from San Francisco, who's had a very good offensive year. His other brother is with the Yankees, and he has just been tremendous this year. Posada is out. Now he's become their everyday catcher. The Yankees have talked about trying to get the Molina brothers together. It's a foul tip. No balls and 2 strikes.
The 2 old brothers at one time were with the Angels. I have a feeling Molina's going to be here for a while.
This one?
Yes.
Yadi's staying. He's not going anywhere. A good prospect, though, for the Cardinals, Brian Anderson.
Right.
Catcher in their minor league system. 0-2, the count on Norton, the first baseman. Runner at first. That is pulled foul. Home run distance, but foul.
Down and in. That ball gets hit a long way by a left-hander, but couldn't keep it fair.
Tim Cheetah, our home plate umpire tonight. Jim Joyce over at first, Jeff Nelson at second, and Adrian Johnson is down at third. And Cheetah was at first last night. The 0-2 pitch to Norton. Here it comes. Chopped off the plate, off speed pitch. He was out in front. Let's hope that this rain will just stay just about like this, if not stop, and we'll get this game in on time. Lefties hitting .242 against Wellemeyer. Righties .262. Norton is hitting just .215 with 3 home runs, 16 driven in on the year. Hasn't seen a lot of playing time. A check swing. He did not go.
And Norton has made 14 starts at left field. This is his 4th start at first base, 1 in right field and 4 at DH.
Two outs, runner at first. We're just underway here in game 2. Little bit outside, 2-2.
Norton was acquired from Seattle back on May the 5th.
Two balls, 2 strikes. The next from Todd Wellemeyer's hit into left center field. And that's a base hit over to get it. Schumacher. Throw will come into second base. Al, I want you to talk about something that we saw in the game last night for our young viewers, and the importance of hitting the cutoff. Even at this level, you're supposed to always hit the cutoff or throw to the right base. And I bring this up because you could see Schumacher was tempted to go to third, but the right play is to go to second and keep 1 runner in scoring position.
That's right. I mean, you come in here, Blanco runs extremely well, so the chances you're going to throw him out of third are remote. But what you also do is, like you say, if you throw to third, the batter goes from home plate and goes to second base, gets himself in the scoring position. You know, the Braves have some pretty strong outfield arms, and they got a lot of assists. But last night, all three of the outfielders made terrible throws, and the Cardinals took advantage of it and had their runners get into scoring position.
Here's Infante. Looks at a breaking ball, a little low and outside.
Watch now, Schumacher fields the ball. He can see the base runner. He also sees the shortstop pointing to second base and tell him, don't throw it to me, throw it to second base, keep the runners at the corners.
Omar Infante, the third baseman, couple of home runs. He's driven in 15 and hitting .293. Outfield is straight away.
That's a little. And you pick up that cutoff man, and many times, you know, he'll just tell you, you hit him in the chest, or he'll tell you which base to throw to. But come up firing, be very aggressive, be anticipating that you're going to make a throw. Hit the cutoff man, and you're really always going to be in pretty good shape. Throw it with authority and get it back in as quickly. And a lot of times you'll stop a guy from taking the extra base on you.
2 balls and a strike. Something to always watch out for, it seems like, the last month or so when talking about Wellemeyer. His slider, whether it be because of a sore elbow or just he doesn't have a good feel for it, whatever the case, it was such a good pitch for him early on.
Yeah, remember he was the National League Pitcher of the Month for May. And he was 4-0 in 6 starts, ERA just over 2. But since that time, he's had some elbow issues.
Here's a 2-1. Hit out of play, 2-2.
And when he says he is healthy, we just haven't seen the consistency in that slider, and this is becoming a long inning.
Ed Wade, the GM of Houston, went to his shortstop Miguel Tejada and told him you are not going anywhere. There are a lot of trade rumors that he would wind up in Boston, but Tejada's been told he's staying put in Houston.
Sometimes that's very important, to just reassure a player, not to get him, you know, reading press clippings or hearing rumors, and just to settle him down and tell him that you know, you're going to stay put.
2-2 pitch in the air out to center field. It's pretty well hit. Schumacher is back near the wall, and he's got it. Did not look real comfortable going back on that ball, but 2 fly balls that were hit to the track in center, and Schumacher comes up with them. The Braves will strand 2 here in their half of the first. The puddles on the track. The catch made by Schumacher. No score. Sunday night is television's biggest night. It's the summer sports block, beginning with the Hooters Dream Girls, then baseball's golden age. It's a great program that's followed by amazing sports stories, and finally the best damn top 50. The summer sports block begins Sunday at 7, only on FSN Midwest. A swing and a miss as we start play here in the top of the second by Ryan Ludwig.
All outs in this game have been in the air.
Dodger Stadium was shaken by the earthquake today in Southern California, but the game that is scheduled tonight between the Dodgers and Giants will be played, and played on time.
5.8 on the Richter scale.
Yep.
Fell throughout the Southern California area and a little bit of Vegas, I think, but last reports I saw, no real structural damage.
Earthquake was centered near Chino Hills. Do you know where that is? Are you familiar with that?
It's a little bit east, you know, south and east of the LA area.
They say it's approximately 30 miles from Dodger Stadium. Ludwig, a swing and a miss. There's that changeup. First strikeout for Campillo. Boy, the bottom just dropped out of that pitch. A lot of movement.
And it really looked like he kind of turned this over a little bit. A lot of movement on it. Naturally, you almost think that the changeup's going to go down and away, but when you have that much movement, it's hard to center it.
Cardinals will play 13 of their next 19 games on the road. And of course, the Cardinals have been one of the National League's most successful road clubs this season. A .547 winning percentage, 29-24 at the start of play tonight. And just one of 5 major league teams, that's it, Angels, Phillies, Milwaukee, the Yankees to have a winning road mark this year. Cardinals offensively better on the road than they are at home. They hit .281 on the road. 0-2 is glossed in like that call.
St. Louis 30-25 at home, 5 games over. And their 5 games, 29-24 on the road.
What's interesting is that in the past 50 years, St. Louis ended a season with the best road batting average in the majors just once. That was back in 1971.
And look what the average was. 265. Is
yeah,
that it?
265.
And they're hitting this year the best in the major leagues at 281.
281. 1-2 on the Cardinal third baseman Troy Glaus with Molina on deck. Quietly, Yadier Molina has turned into a threat, hasn't he?
Yes, he has, and good to see is hitting over 300, hitting with authority.
It's the first go around as GM for John Mozeliak. Totally different animal. You're the assistant GM, you're helping set up trades, working behind the scenes, but if something falters or you get the raw end of a deal, not thinking that way initially, but it happens that way, you're remembered. I mean, it's a pressurized situation for that GM.
Well, he got a lot of training under Walt Jocketty, but he's his own man.
That tails in there for a strike. 2 strikeouts, both in this second inning for Campillo.
Set up away. He deals an awful lot on the outside part of the plate, but look at that movement. As that changeup just comes, and that looks like the screwball. As he can turn it over a little bit, and that one comes back to the middle of the plate, and these hitters are giving up on it.
Explain a screwball as opposed to the curveball, a changeup, a fastball.
Well, you know, if you're a right-hander,
there's Molina with a base hit up the middle,
and you're throwing a curveball, you're pulling down on a lampshade, and you know you got your great 12-6, or sometimes you get a little bit of a you know, sidearm deal where it go a little bit more down and away. Where a screwball, you actually turn the ball over, and you're taking your wrist and you're almost turning your thumb all the way down, and that ball will come back towards the right-handed batter. You try and throw it away, they give up on it, they think it's outside, and it comes back to the inside or the middle of the plate.
Is it a case, Al, where more guys don't throw it just because it's hard to learn as opposed to a curveball?
Well, typically, you know, you think of a screwball thrown by a left-handed pitcher. Mike Marshall had an exceptional screwball, and it's a pitch that a lot of people think, you know, because you're putting so much torque on your arm that it does a lot of damage. But I think any pitch that you throw properly is okay.
Strike 2, Brendan Ryan.
To me, the slider's the one that puts more pressure on the elbow than any other pitch. But if you stay on top of the screwball, it really is not that much strain. It's just a pitch that's very difficult to locate.
Ryan pops it up into shallow right. Long way to go for the second baseman and right fielder. It's dropped. It gets away. Molina is going to be waved in. He's on his way to the plate. Throw to home, and they don't get him. The tag wasn't there, and Molina scores the first run of the night.
Corky Miller just kind of laying there, and Brendan Ryan took advantage and goes to third. It looked like if the tag was applied, the throw was in time. But Molina flashing that speed for the second night in a row. Somebody described him running like in quicksand, but they're just right there. The right fielder comes up with it. Francoeur, he has a great throwing arm, and it sure looked like he tagged him. But you cannot argue with the position of the home plate umpire. And that look,
wow.
It looks like he missed him.
Yeah, it looks like he slid right under the glove of Corky
you know,
Miller.
It's just that speed, Dan.
He's
just
a base runner,
speed.
Al. Should have expected that. Wellemeyer ground ball hit to second. So it's a 2-out base hit for Brendan Ryan, and Molina scores the first run of the night. Last night, all the red in the seats. Cardinal fans here in Dixie. 1-0 St. Louis. Another look at Molina. This angle may show that the tag was there. And he is out.
It sure looks like he hits him in the knee, but no argument from Corky Miller, the catcher.
You think Bobby Cox is saying, I've been ejected so many times, I'm just going to wait until later? I'm going to wait till it's maybe the 7th or 8th inning. Then I'll get ejected. But now, this is too early for me.
Oh.
Give Jose Oquendo, by the way, a little credit, because you have to know who's on deck if you're that third base coach, knowing that it's Wellemeyer. You take the chance in sending Yadier Molina.
Good point.
And Molina barely touched the bag at third. Here's Kelly Johnson. It was off his glove, not ruled an error. It's a double for the Cardinals second baseman Brendan Ryan, and you have to give him an RBI on that play too. That's his 9th RBI. The 0-1 pitch to Johnson. Hammered into deep right field. Ludwig on the move. He won't get it. One hops off the wall. If early on is any indication, the Braves are getting pretty good hacks here against Todd Wellemeyer.
Yeah, they are. And Todd looks like he's really struggling. Doesn't have command of that slider. His fastball's kind of all over the place a little bit. Their fastball is supposed to be outside, and he throws it down and in. And I've heard some rumors, you know, the Cardinals are looking for left-handed relief pitching, and Will Ullman is a reliever lefty that a lot of teams are looking at. But I've heard some talk too that the Cardinals could be, you know, might be interested in Kelly Johnson and Ullman.
Kelly Johnson's a nice player, and people will tell you that if he's in a lineup that has some hitters and surrounded by guys that are veterans, they feel he fits perfectly in. But if you're counting on him to be a big run producer or a guy that is a standout in that lineup, he's probably not your guy. As Frank Cord pops it up, Molina will give it a look, but that's going to find the seats. Join us Sunday, August 3rd, the Build-A-Bear Workshop Day at Busch Stadium. Children 12 and under receive a free limited edition bear. Number to call for tickets, 314-345-9500, or visit us online at stlcardinals.com. That's this Sunday, August 3rd, as the Philadelphia Phillies and Ryan Howard will be in town.
Kind of hard to believe, but I even saw one publication where they said that Frank Cord could be available.
Just talking with the gentleman, and there's a base hit in center field. Johnson being waved in, and this game is tied. Frank Cord drives in his 46th RBI. It's 1-1. Just fought it off in on the hands, and it's back-to-back base hits for the Braves, and we're tied up 1-1. I was about to say, though, Al, that a gentleman that has spent his entire life here in Atlanta, an older gentleman that covers the Braves, and he said the best high school athlete to ever come out of this area is standing at first base, and that's Jeff Francoeur.
Well, that's why I say it's surprising. He's a local product, a real fan favorite. I know he's been struggling this year. Talked about last night, he was sent down to Double-A, and he crushed the ball there in a brief time, 7 for 13. But he's only hit .220 since he's come back to the big leagues.
Our old buddy Corky Miller. 1 home run and 3 RBIs, the former Red. Slowly hit, tough to turn 2. Only play for Brendan Ryan to go to first.
Brendan thought about trying to get the lead runner going to second base, but I think he made the wise decision. You have to at least get it out.
Later tonight, following our postgame show, it's the best damn sports show period, the greatest nightly sports show on TV. John Sally and Chris Rose. Best damn sports show period tonight at 11, only on FSN Midwest. Paul Pierce, rapper Luke Campbell, part of the program tonight. Campillo's hitting an even 200, no home runs and 2 RBIs. Cardinals at the start of play tonight, 4 games out. Milwaukee 2 games back of Chicago. Chicago the most wins in the National League. The most wins in baseball. Los Angeles in the American League West. They're 65 and 40. In many ways, though, they play that National League style of baseball. But they have very good pitching. They play good defense. We talked about the struggles with their offense. And they have a closer that looks like is going to have the all-time saves record, single season record.
What's he up to now?
We'll have to take a look.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Closing
40,
in on
40
Thigpen.
plus.
Had another one last night. They beat the Boston Red Sox. Now you got me looking all over the place for this, Al. But we've had plenty of time to find it. That's a strike to Campillo. One ball and 2 strikes on the starter for the Braves. Rodriguez with 44 saves.
44.
Sherrill of Baltimore has 30. Papelbon has 30. Soria of Kansas City with 28, along with Joe Nathan.
And Wilson from the San Francisco leads with, I think, 28 saves in the National League.
He's going to shatter that single season mark already at 44. 1-2 is the count.
57.
57 is the record. Campillo puts it out of play and foul. Many times you see this, don't you, with Todd Wellemeyer? First couple of innings, if not 3 or 4, or just a struggle just to find the strike zone, get a feel for his pitches, and then he settles in.
Well, you hope that's the case, but you can see his shirt is just drenched.
1-2 pitch. There's the slider and a strikeout. First strikeout of the night for Todd Wellemeyer. I was talking with Dave Duncan yesterday about his pitching staff, and you see now we're coming up on the second time through. An opponent's hitting .305 against him, and also asked him about his son, and he said Chris right now has numbness in his arm because of that disc problem in his neck, but they're a little bit concerned about what's going on. It's complete numbness, he said, in the arm.
Well, and that's why it's the most logical explanation I have seen as to why the loss of power.
Well, he said that he did the injury in Philly, and there was a struggle with the power before that, and then certainly after it. He looked really stiff at the plate and was struggling to drive the baseball. It was on the slide, remember that, on Jimmy Rollins? And he hit the back of his head. Hit down the left field line, and that'll slice out of play and foul.
And typical of Chris Duncan, we never were aware of any problem until he went on the disabled list.
It took him to the point where he got home one night and basically couldn't move his neck. Called Barry Weinberg and said, that's it, I need help. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's Francoeur. He's at second base. He has tied it up with a single up the middle. 1-1 game here in the bottom of the second inning. Game 2 of this 4-game set, the Braves and the Cardinals. The next 2, Blanco taken down and in. If everything would go to plan, you've got some rearranging to do with your bullpen and your starting rotation. Tomorrow Carpenter comes back. Everybody's looking forward to that, obviously. And at some point, as long as Izzy is getting the job done at the back end of games, Wainwright would probably go in your rotation. So you'd have to make some adjustments there. So starts like these are big for Todd Wellemeyer.
I mentioned that 5 of his last 7, he's gone 5 innings or less. Did have 2 starts ago, did have the rough first couple innings, allowed 5 runs, but stuck around for 6 1/3 and got the win.
Here's a 3-1 pitch. Up the middle, base hit. Francoeur being waved in. Schumacher, his throw will come into second base. The Braves have their first lead of the night, and first lead in the series. It's 2-1. A 2-out base hit. Leadoff man Blanco is 2 for 2, his 25th ribby of the year. Cardinals last night 6 for 9 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs.
Fastball get a little sinking action, but it stays up, hit back up the middle, and
Schumacher has 8 assists, and 4 of them he's gotten at the plate, but chose to get that one ball back into the infield.
There's a slider and a strike to Escobar.
You don't really like what you're seeing from Wellemeyer, and you hope he battles through it and kind of figures it out. But with Carpenter pitching tomorrow, you really don't know what you're going to get out of him. And they're hoping 85 pitches, but he said if he threw 30 pitches and Tony and Dave Duncan didn't like what they'd see, they'd go get him right then. So you're a little tentative to take your starter out now. And we have to think that you're going to score off this Atlanta Braves starter, and you like to contain this pretty much AAA offense.
But Tony was saying he's not a big fan. There's a swing and a miss of the pitch counts, and we'll talk about that start tomorrow coming up for Carpenter. But the Braves have their first lead of this series. It's 2-1. The State in Baseball History is brought to you by Schnucks. Phillies trade Scott Rowland to the Cardinals for Bud Smith, Placido Polanco, and one other player. It was July 29th of 2002. At the time, it was a great deal for St. Louis, as Rowland really played well. Ended, though, Al, as we saw, a little ugly, didn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, and those things happen. But we'll remember Scotty for great third baseman, clutch hits here and there. Good guy.
Isturis backhanded by the first baseman, Norton. I was talking about Chris Carpenter, and Tony La Russa said he's not a big fan of pitch counts, although tomorrow they'll most likely keep him around 80 to 85. In his last rehab start, he pitched 78 pitches at Memphis. And when they talk about Carpenter, they say he's strong, but he's not yet sharp.
Yeah, and I think that, you're physically, you're fine, but you're getting back those competitive juices and trying to stay under control. And
that, to me, is going to be the real hard part with Carpenter. He's such a competitor.
Well, and if anybody's can make the adjustment, I think Carpenter's going to be better at it than most. But they also, in the perfect world, he has 4 starts in the rehab. But right now, he's better than anything you got in the minor leagues or right here. So you just kind of accelerate the clock on him.
Here's a 1-1 to Schumacher, and that looked to be the screwball that we've talked about as Dave Duncan is visiting with Todd Wellemeyer there, and also Yadier Molina on the left.
Well, I think they're just talking about that fastball command and talking about, just he doesn't look sharp right now, but sometimes you just stay with it and you'll figure it out.
2-2 the count.
Looks slumped over. Looks like he's worn out, doesn't he?
Usually he looks that way, doesn't he? I mean, he's a guy that kind of has that body language. It's quiet, a little slumped over, though, as you mentioned right now. It's a warm night. Rain has been falling. Schumacher reaches for it, and a ground ball hit to second. Kelly Johnson there, 2 away. FSN previews upcoming Mizzou football season and the Big 12 Conference and the Big 12 football preview shows premiering Saturday afternoon. Mizzou preview, you'll hear from head coach Gary Pinkel and 4 preseason all Big 12 selections. Chase Daniel, Jeremy Macklin, Chase Kaufman, and William Moore. The Big 12 football preview shows premiere Saturday afternoon on FSN with the Missouri Tigers preview at 4:30. Each team is broken down into 30-minute preview shows, and the Tigers are at 4:30. Brent, Kansas State is at 4. Brent Stover, a graduate of Kansas State. Here's the 0-1 pitch in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike on Mather.
He could have added that last night, which we would have known why his interest.
He had quite the interest in that preview show. Mather collected 3 hits last night. A 2-run homer to get the Cardinals going. It was a 427-foot shot.
was a hanging changeup.
I asked Tony about the swing of Mather. He says there's still a ways to go, but we have seen good improvement as far as trying to shorten it up a bit. It's still too long at this level, they feel, but there is improvement from the first time they saw him.
Yes, you know, a very long swing, and yes, he's got power, but sometimes only that hanging breaking ball.
1-2 is hit out to center. That's a hanging breaking ball, looked like that time, and Mather picks up his first base hit, and he's 1 for 2 on the night.
Sometimes people say that they wish this starter would just can that curveball. I said this happens frequently to it. That hitters, if they are a little fooled, you know, they can make the adjustment because it's just too big of a loop in it. Much better just throwing the changeup.
Pujols fly to right his first time up. 2 outs, runner at first, 2-1 Atlanta here in the third. Big gap in left center. It was a 10-8 win in 14 innings on Saturday night, 5 hours, 9 minutes. Albert Pujols with the game-winning hit and RBIs. 6 hits from Schumacher in that game, which tied the franchise single game record, which was last done by Terry Moore, 1935. 2-0 pitch to Albert. On the outside corner, 2-1.
Then it was 1930 last time 2 Cardinal players had as many as 5 hits in a game.
Pujols and Schumacher. Albert with 5 and Schumacher with 6. 2-1 pitch, and Pujols was ready for that. Watch out, Jose Oquendo. 2-2.
Hey, Ozzie, get in the coach's box.
Have we abandoned that rule?
Well, that was the big topic earlier. Larry Boa had some problem with it, but you see right there against Albert, you don't want to be in that coach's box up there 25 feet closer to home plate.
Here's a 2-2 pitch, and Pujols skies one into shallow center. Kotsay is there, and he puts it away. The Cardinals have stranded 2 midway through 3. 2-1 Atlanta. Baseball tonight on FSN Midwest is brought to you by your St. Louis area Kia retailers. Kia, the power to surprise. By Taco Bell's new Fertista Freeze. Available in 2 delicious flavors, topped with real fresh strawberries. Refresh your day. Mark Kotsay will lead it off for the Atlanta Braves here in Dixie. We will see the Braves in late August in St. Louis. It'll be a 3-game set, the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th of August. And the Cardinals were 4-3 against the Braves last year. They split their 4 games at Turner Field. 1-0 pitch to Kotsay. Be an off-speed pitch, 1-1. Ninth pick, 1996 by Florida was Kotsay, and that's pulled foul. Out of Cal State Fullerton. He was also the Golden Spikes Award winner as college baseball's best player. This team won the College World Series, and not only did he play the outfield, but he also closed games at the final 5 outs of the College World Series for Cal State Fullerton. It's been with Florida and San Diego, Oakland, the Atlanta Braves. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Left field, Joe Mather. One thing that Tony did talk about with Joe Mather, even though it's been a little bit of a struggle at the plate, they love him defensively. They feel he gets great jumps and very, very athletic.
We talked last night about Randy Flores
figuring out what he's doing different in his delivery. So you can see out there, he's pitched Sunday, he's pitched last night, much better. You tell me before the game that if you put those games back to back, you'll see much improvement. Not sitting down on the back leg so much and trying to, you know, have an angle down, a downward plane, so he can stay on top of his slider and his fastball.
What is that on his arm? What's he trying to do there?
He's got a sock there. It's a ball at the end of it, but you know, you're trying to, you know, simulate throwing without trying to do the wear and tear. So you're trying to repeat your delivery the way they mechanically want him to do so, but not throw it.
Past Brendan Ryan and into right field for a base hit with 1 out.
I have never seen that drill before, though. It's kind of sanitary sock, and it looks like there's a baseball inside of it. So, you know, you get there, and you're not having to throw hard, but you're throwing the baseball, and I think he's trying to simulate finishing off the pitch. But I've never seen that before. Gosh, just think how good I would have been if I could have had all those things.
What drills did you do?
Nothing.
Just played catch.
We had no weights, no nothing. You know, you threw every day. You had a weighted baseball that you kind of stretch out a little bit with. No video. Scout report, they'd say, okay, up and in, down and away. That's it.
Well, these guys, you know, are totally relying on video every day. We get on the buses, we get on the planes with the team, and it's broken down into DVDs for the coaches and players so they can watch. Extensive scouting reports done because of video.
And the bottom line is, can you execute the scouting report or the game plan? You know, I told you to throw a curveball. I didn't tell you to hang it. I told you to throw down and away. I didn't tell you, you know, leave it middle half in. It all goes back to, you know, all the preparation and everything, but it's the execution of the players between the white lines.
Wydermyer stepped off the mound, and you could see he was not happy with something. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, and a runner at first base. Cardinals could use a double play off the bat of Omar Infante. He flied to deep center his first time up. This is hit out to shallow left. Mather is there for out number 2. Hey, St. Louis County moms and dads, the Cardinals Alumni Kids Clinics are coming to Chesterfield on August 5th and 7th. Boys and girls ages 7 to 13 can learn baseball fundamentals from former Cardinal greats like John Mabry, Rick Horton, and Scott Terry. For more information, number to call is 345-9891 or visit stlcardinals.com. 2 outs, and here's Kelly Johnson. He doubled and scored back in that 2-run second inning for the Braves. I think Wydermyer may have been upset with the batter not being in the box.
Oh, you have to take your time, man. You just, it's still a National League rule. Once you reach the batter's box, you have to, you know, you cannot leave it without permission from the umpire.
Ryan will flip to Isturis.
Another rule that's never enforced.
Braves have stranded 4. Ludwig, lost Molina coming up. Top of the 4th, it's 2-1 Atlanta. And here's Ryan Ludwig to lead it off for the Cardinals. Ludwig, Loss, and Molina. I know a lot of our fans, Al, have wondered about the career path of Ludwig to get to St. Louis. He was originally a 2nd-round draft choice from Oakland, then traded to Texas before the 02 season. He made the team as a 23-year-old outfielder. There's a ground ball that's off the glove of the shortstop, Escobar. What really curtailed his career at the time, he had a fractured hip, did Ludwig. And then he was traded to by the Rangers to Cleveland. And then he was with the Toledo Mud Hens, AAA affiliate of Detroit, and the Cardinals then picked him up, and he's made his first All-Star team this year. And the Cardinals called him up after the injury to Preston Wilson.
I've always liked the fact that he's a low ball hitter, and that was a good example of it there. Look at what he did there at Toledo and didn't get called up by the Tigers.
Oh, his numbers were unbelievable.
And well, Mo was the one that acquired him as a 6-year minor league free agent for Memphis. But he got an invite to spring training. They liked what they saw, and when Preston Wilson got hurt, he came up, did a great job.
Popped up and out of play. No balls, 2 strikes on Gloss, who struck out his first time up. Campillo, the right-hander for Atlanta. Tonight he has struck out 2. He's allowed 4 base hits.
Struck out Ludwig and Gloss back in the 2nd inning.
Sets up outside, and it's 1-2. Well, you got to be pretty talented at the age of 23 to make it to the big leagues. And John Mozeliak was talking about Ludwig before, and he had been on their radar screen for a couple of years. It just happened to kind of fall through the cracks, and they gave him an opportunity.
Well, I think, you know, he had the great year, AAA in the Detroit organization, and they don't call him up. So, you know, he think, you know, that was the year that 06, right? So the Cardinals beat Detroit, and they didn't seem like they had a need for him. The Cardinals were looking for help, and it's a great marriage.
Just turned 31. 2-2 pitch on the outside corner. That pitch right there twice has been called a strike on Gloss, and both times he hasn't liked the call.
Set up away, and looks like it does catch enough of the plate, but that's a tough pitch to protect.
Here's Molina, singled up the middle and scored the only run of the night for the Cardinals on a double by Brendan Ryan. Last night's season high 12 runs led to the team's 50th win in games during which the Cardinals have collected 10 or more hits. If they do that, they're 50-13 this year. One out, one on. Strike 2, Molina. First 12 games since the break for the Cardinals, they're 6-6. 6 of the 12 games being decided in the winning team's final at bats. Some of those have been gut-wrenching, in particular Milwaukee.
I was going to say, we kind of know how some of those turned out.
And that is a strike on Molina. 0-2. A couple of those calls have been questioned by the Cardinal hitters. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Molina. 1-2.
One thing about Campillo is predominantly he's away. Really hasn't thrown anything inside or kept anybody honest or keep them from diving across the plate. Take that approach up the middle or the opposite field.
Runner goes, and it's hit out of play. Campillo is from Tijuana. Did not make the 08 opening day roster, but received a call up on April 10th, so it didn't take long. Made his Braves debut on April 13th. Relief appearance at that time against the Nationals. First start was on May 20th. And he's been in that rotation ever since. The 1-2 pitch, off speed pitch, and just missed.
Right, the same pitch, if not a bit better than what got Gloss.
2-2. On deck, Brendan Ryan. Cardinals trailed 2-1. Redbirds with 4 base hits. The Braves with 6. Let's see if they want to do some running. Ludwig is not going, and the pitch is swung on and missed. 4 strikeouts for Campillo. And That's 2 in this inning. Saturday, August 2nd, Creve Corps photo night here at Busch Stadium. And gates open at 4:15. Bring your camera. Arrive early. To go on the field, snap up-close pictures of all your favorite players and coaches. Creve Corps Camera Photo Night, Saturday, August 2nd at Busch Stadium.
Saw Brendan Ryan just kind of look down to third base, but don't try a bunt here with the pitcher on deck.
Has it worked ever?
No, it never has, but
had a bloop double his first time up.
he needed that. He was batting just about a 100 this month.
Right-hander on the mound and no Adam Kennedy tonight. He hasn't been playing very much as of late. Big gap in left center field.
Miles is swinging such a hot bat, and Aaron batting .336 in his 55 starts. He was 1 for 5 last night, but sometimes you got to give these guys. Tony's very understanding of keeping his bench guys sharp by giving them playing time. Tony knows what it's like to be sitting on the bench and wishing you could have a fighting chance, but when you play once every 2 or 3 weeks, it's tough. So he rarely will go that long with his players. Tries to keep them sharp.
That's in the dirt and staying put Ludwig, despite the fact Brendan Ryan wanted him to advance. Roger McDowell is the pitching coach here in Atlanta, and when he was playing, he was a prankster. Now he's all business. He always had the hot foot going.
Yeah, character Roger was, but he was down that bullpen, so he could get away with a lot more things. And Bobby Cox is thrilled to death to have him.
McDowell, a key component, of course, of the '86 Mets team. He was the winning pitcher in the deciding Game 7 against Boston. Pitched with the Mets, the Phillies, Dodgers, Rangers, and the Orioles in the American League. 2-2 the count. And Ryan strikes out. Campillo strikes out the side. 2-1 Braves. 2-1 Atlanta as we move to the bottom of the 4th. It's the Chop House, operated by the good folks at Anheuser-Busch. Jeff Francoeur leads it off. Francoeur with an RBI single. 7, 8, and 9 for the Braves. Talking about Roger McDowell, and who could forget the memorable home run that he would give up to Terry Pendleton back in 1987, and now both those two are coaches on Bobby Cox's staff. There's Terry.
It's Chipper on the disabled list.
That was back in 1987, early September at Shea Stadium, and a home run that was huge as far as the race was concerned between the Mets and Cardinals.
I was talking with Roger McDowell in there, Braves clubhouse, and TP walked by and almost brought up that home run. Almost said, "You guys ever talk about that?" And then I go, "Nah."
McDowell was trying to protect, if memory serves correct, a 4-2 lead at that time.
My memory serves right. It was over the center field wall.
Oh yeah. 3-0 pitch to Francoeur. 4 straight, he walked him. Wellemeyer just does not look comfortable, has he?
Say he's changed his jersey and got a dry one on. It's his first walk, but it's hard to walk a guy like Francoeur.
Free swinger and just about swings at anything. Leadoff walk, and here's Corky Miller, 8th place hitter, grounded out to second his first time up.
Down there, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, and what should be an easy inning, but they give a free pass, and you never know.
Cardinals will see the Cy Young Award winner of 05, Chris Carpenter, return to the rotation. First time we've seen him since opening day of 2007. Right elbow injury that required Tommy John surgery. As a member of the Cardinals, Chris Carpenter is 51-19. Only 19 losses. Archilles pitch count at 64 for Todd Wellemeyer.
64, but this is a laboring 64 pitches. Good example of how that pitch count really doesn't mean anything. And he's big and strong, and the 100 pitch barrier should mean nothing to him either.
Off speed pitch, 1-1. Cardinals won that game, by the way, in '87 in 10 innings. 2-1 Atlanta. Campillo has struck out 5 for the Braves. Wellemeyer has struck out 2. 1-2 is the count. Cardinals baseball on FSN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you, our Bud Productions crew.
Courtney Miller making his 15th start with Brian McCann. They're very fine and offensive catcher. Out probably for this entire series. And there's another example. His first 2 pitches were off-speed pitches, but he can't locate the fastball. When you can't locate the fastball, you're in trouble.
2-2. And a ground ball pulled foul. In a moment, we will flash back to a memorable game in which Albert Pujols told J-Rod, "You're not going to need that bat." Remember that in the dugout?
Yeah,
we had that great shot. We'll bring back some memories for you. A recent memory between the Cardinals and the Braves. 2-2. Strikeout. So let's flash back to the Busch Stadium 2. Eckstein hits a walk-off grand slam against the Braves. Albert says to J-Rod, "You're not going to need that." And sure enough, David Eckstein, a grand slam, August 7, 2005.
It's one of those 10 that have occurred in Cardinal history. The very last one was the Aaron Miles. The last homestand, right?
That's right. Against the Padres, and you can see Campillo is showing bunt, and Wellemeyer just guided the ball in there. Didn't even throw it. Just kind of guided in there.
Trying to give you an out. Throw the ball, elevate it, try and get a pop-up. Through that 77 miles an hour. What pitch is that?
Depending on where he bunts it to, he might be able to get 2. You never know. He's swinging away, and this is popped up. Gloss calls for it and has it. 2 outs. Aflac trivia question with 2 outs and runner at first here at Turner Field. Who is the only Cardinal player in their history to hit 2 triples in an inning? Go ahead, Alan. You can give me that name.
Tiny Pete's.
1895, Al. It's one player I just wasn't thinking of at that time.
Came up in his rookie year as my last.
Two outs and a runner at first. And that's bunted foul by Blanco.
Blanco's been swinging a hot bat. He's a speed type guy. Leads the team in stolen bases. He got his team high 21st infield single tonight.
Tiny Pites, Al.
You keep on mentioning somebody's gonna Jimmy's going to email you something.
I'm trying to find what David Eckstein is hitting.
I look, you know, Scott Rowland, I think, was 257 today, but Eckstein did not play.
Yeah, Rowland is 257 with 6 home runs and 31 RBIs.
Started the season on the disabled list, but he's been playing for several months now.
Eckstein is up to 271.
Heard his name being rumored as on the trade market.
He's played in 65 games. Rowland has played in 81. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Gregor Blanco. In the dirt behind Molina, but runner does not advance. One ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs and a runner over at first. Blanco is 2 for 2 with an RBI single his last time up. Escobar on deck. Pass Pujols and into right. Grancourt on his way to third. First and third with 2 outs. Just snuck under the glove of Pujols.
Blanco 3 for 3 tonight.
All 3 have been singles, and here's Escobar.
Hold on, try to get your lead, but you're playing right at the edge of the infield grass and cut down on your range, and the ball gets by him. He has retired Escobar both times he's faced him in this game, so there's the chop. Gotta eat more chicken here, don't you?
Two outs and a runner at first and third. Broken bat hit to short. Esteuris is up with it over to Albert, and the Braves strand 2. We head to the 5th. It's 2-1 Atlanta. What's on tap is brought to you by Bud Light. Bud Light keeps it coming. Highly anticipated 08 debut tomorrow. Chris Carpenter, National League Cy Young Award winner from 05. He'll make his season debut. First major league start since opening day of 2007. Cardinals and Braves. Game 3 tomorrow at 5 on FSN Midwest. Atlanta with a 1-run lead. 8 and 9, and then the top of the order, Skip Schumacher, and this is Todd Wellemeyer. Campillo here in the 5th. On the night has struck out 5 and has allowed 4 base hits. Cardinals again will have to make a move tomorrow when they activate Carpenter. 1-2 the count on Wellemeyer. Right now they have 5 on their bench. For a while it was just 4.
Yeah, I guess you are concerned about Ankiel. He did tell me he is improving, so you'd think it would be a simple move would be, say, Stavanoa.
Back to the pitcher, Campillo. Underhands over to first to Norton for the first out. Yeah, the Cardinals have had no issues, at least in Tony's mind, playing with just 4 on their bench.
Tongue-in-cheek, he always talks about, you know, it gives him 1 less player, so he can't mess up, you know, 1 less move that he has to make.
Well, how about Campillo tonight, Al? He's been pretty good so far with these 5 strikeouts and holding the Cardinals in check to just 1 run.
Well, it's a little concerning to me because this guy does have a feel for pitching, and he's got the very good changeup, but you know, he is a guy that if you're going to be a playoff contending team, you have to beat these type of pitchers.
0-1 pitch to Isturis on its way. That is a foul ball. 0-2. Isturis grounded out to first his first time up. Schumacher on deck. Big Cardinal fan, Vince Hutchison, who has made his way to Turner Field, celebrating his 66th birthday. 1-2. On the note that we have here, it says Vince never leaves the house without his Cardinal red on. All right, Vince, glad you're with us tonight here at Turner Field. Off-speed pitch and spoiled by Isturis. One and two the count. Maybe Isturis should hit from the other side of the plate. Campillo, even though he's a right-hander, right-handed batters hitting 50 points higher than lefties. Lefties are hitting at the start of play tonight just 204 against Campillo.
He'll throw that screwball on both sides of the plate to lefties and righties.
One and two the count. Rain is picked up just slightly here at the ballpark. And that is pretty well hit. Out to right. Francoeur is back to make the catch. Two outs, and it brings in Schumacher.
No decision his last time out, where he went an inning and 2/3, but then they had a 2-hour rain delay and knocked him out. Did win his two previous starts to that, at San Diego and at Florida.
Skip is 0 for 2 tonight. He's flying to right and grounded out to second. We're in the fifth. Two outs, nobody on. 2-1 Atlanta. Francoeur is playing pretty shallow in right field. We've seen Skip has got some pop with his 6 home runs.
I think we both agree with Blanco in left field playing as shallow as he is.
And the 1-1 is chopped up the middle. Shortstop will spin and throw it. Safe at first is Schumacher, diving in there safely. Escobar made it close. It looked like, partner, that he had struggled to get the ball out of the glove a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like it popped up a little bit. See, it hit in the heel of the glove and then down to the webbing. So there's the little snow cone. And by the time he set himself and got himself under control to throw, Skip, with his good speed and hustle, gets across the bag.
Here's Mather. Pujols on deck. Joe is 1 for 2 with a single up the middle. Tony on our pregame show was kind enough to visit with us live, and he talked about the importance of last night's win. He said it was very, very important in his mind to take game 1 of this series after what the Cardinals have been through.
Oh, absolutely. And then to do it in convincing fashion, where Looper picks up the win, but you kind of have a relative easy time getting the last couple innings through your bullpen, and you have plenty of rested arms for tonight's action. But this offense, kind of touch and go. They looked so good last night with the 12 runs scored, 13 hits. They've got 5 hits today, but only 1 run. And that was kind of the bloop double. The Brendan Ryan hit back in the 2nd inning, which plated Molina on a play that it probably should have been thrown out.
1-1 the count. Light rain falling here at the ballpark. Next to Mather. Sky towards center field. Kotze hardly asked to move. He's under it. Cardinals have stranded 4 midway through 5. Atlanta by a run. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. I was thinking about this date in baseball history, and it was written by the one and only Doug Stanton as the one other player. And that one other player was one of your favorites, Al. That trade with Scott Rowland, Mike Timlin was part of that deal.
Really?
Base hit past Glosson into left.
And it's 4 in the first 5 innings that Wellemeyer's allowed a base hit or walk to the first man. Away, and nice piece of hitting by Kotsay going the other way with it.
So leadoff base hit. Here's Norton.
Norton's 2 for 2. Greg Norton had acquired from Seattle back on May the 5th. While with Seattle, he was 7 for 16 in 6 April games.
Norton 2 for 2. Here's the 0-1 from Wellemeyer. High fly ball out to left. Joe Mather backing up near the wall and makes the catch. Runner tags up from first into second and safely. That's Kotsay. Heads up play. You visit the official online shop of the Cardinals at STLCardinals.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic team gear, including clubhouse caps, t-shirts, jerseys, and more. Get your Cardinals gear straight from the source. Shop the STLCardinals.com shop today. Smart base running there by Kotsay to test Joe Mather, and the move paid off. Here's Infante. Kotsay in scoring position. Ryan trying to keep him close at second. It spins foul off the end of the bat. Sometimes you'll see that ball hit off the end of the bat and it spins back fair.
Sure. And when the batter's still in the batter's box and having attempted to run, you got a pretty good chance you're going to get him out.
Cincinnati and Houston tied 1-1. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Line drive on a hop to Brendan Ryan. He'll go to third, and they throw it away, but it hits the umpire, and the Cardinals catch a break. It hit the third base umpire, and instead of going away and having Kotsay score possibly, Adrian Johnson may have saved the Cardinals a run.
Vacation umpire, but the throw way offline. Brendan Ryan saw that he had him trapped, and just a throw. It actually could have been caught by Gloss, and I think he deflected it to where it hit the umpire. So,
but with one out, maybe the better play is to get the sure out.
You have to get an out, and you have an easy play in front of you. 2 outs, runner at third. You know, he could have maybe taken his time and taken a little crow hop because the runner was trapped. He was starting to go back to the bag when Brendan Ryan back to second base when Ryan threw it.
Cardinals would love the double play. The 1-0 is down and in. 2 balls and no strikes.
Usually a rule of thumb is make sure you get one.
It has been a grind tonight for Todd Wellemeyer. 2 balls and no strikes. Top of the third between Chicago and Milwaukee, and there's no score. 2-0, runners at first and third. Johnson fouls it back. He doubled and scored. Also hit into a fielder's choice. Two and 1 the count. The next to Johnson. 3-1. We've talked about the Cardinals possibly trying to get relief help, in particular Brian Fuentes of Colorado. Well, Colorado at the start of play tonight is only 6 games out in the National League West. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've been one of the hottest teams since the All-Star break. Do they feel they're still in it? Well, they haven't traded Holiday. They haven't traded Fuentes.
Well, they also have recent history of a year ago how they made a great charge at the end, and nobody really seems to take in control of the American League or the National League West.
Big pitch here. Here comes a 3-2 in the 5th. Swing and a miss, and now a chance at a double play. A strikeout, Kotze, and a rundown. They'll tag him out, and the Cardinals get out of this jam. Kotze and the rundown between third and home, and a strikeout for Wellemeyer. What a huge play for the Cardinals there. They get the strikeout of Kelly Johnson after Wellemeyer had fallen behind 3-1, and then a caught stealing of Kotze that goes 2-5, 2-6, and that sends us to the 6th inning.
Well, what a heads-up play by Molina. It was a design play that they're trying to get the runner from first to second, get into a rundown, and then they try to steal the run with the runner coming from third. But Molina faked the second. That sent Kotze running towards home, but he held on to the ball, and then he had him in a rundown and got the double play. That was a big play, and let's hope it's a momentum shifter.
Exactly. Pujols, the first one up, looks at a breaking ball, down and in. That's just got a big old loop in it, doesn't it, that breaking ball?
Yeah, that's where a lot of people say that that's a pitch they probably should just junk.
The 1-0 to Albert.
It is neat. I've been sitting here going trying to.
So far, the Cardinals have been held in check. Only 5 base hits. They've been out hit 8-5 and trailed 2-1.
5 strikeouts. Campillo is, really just had him way off balance.
They set up way outside. Ball 2 to Albert. Pujols tonight has flied to right. He's also flied to center. Two-one pitch to Pujols. 3-1. Let's take a look at the third base coach. That final play before the inning.
Well, Brian Snitker, the third base coach, comes over and tells him that they're just trying to steal this run, where the runner at first base probably was going to pull up.
Pujols sends one out to deep center. Is it enough? It's at the wall, and it's gone. Game tied. Albert goes deep, number 21, and it's 2-2.
3 home runs in the last 4 games for Albert. His 21st of the year, 64 RBIs.
You just see it happening too, Al, after that play, and you mentioned the word momentum, and then you have Pujols due up first.
And you see a hanging pitch up in the zone there, and Albert put a charge into it. He had to set it over center field. 9th home run allowed by this pitcher. And you may fool some people, but you're not going to fool Albert.
It was a span of 68 at-bats in which Pujols didn't homer, and now he's homered in the final 2 games of the Mets series. Did not homer last night and is homered here tonight, so 3 of the last 4. For whatever reason, they threw the ball back in, and Pujols has tied it up 2-2. Just sat back and waited on that off-speed pitch. Can the Cardinals go back-to-back? Ludwig down the right field line. Francoeur near the line and out of play. So the Cardinals have tied it up 2-2. If you're thinking about the bullpen, it was great in the first half for Bobby Cox. Opponent's batting average was best in the league, 3rd best ERA, but things have changed here in the second half.
Well, they had some injuries in that department too. You lose some of your
your key people, and all of a sudden you bring in a bunch of young kids and not quite the same arms. Bobby's hands are tied
completely. The 0-1 pitch. Ludwig gets underneath it on a changeup, out in front again, popped up shallow right. Ludwig is 1 for 3 on the night. Hardy's prime cut of the game, Albert Pujols. It's almost like a BP fastball for him, right down the middle, and see you later, arms extended.
But, you know, a breaking ball that ends up at the belt is going to be belted.
Gloss has had a tough night. He's 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. There's the curveball and a strike. It's more of just a get-ahead curveball.
Get-ahead curveball, but you know, you think, you know, with how many breaking pitches he throws, that you'd be looking for something like that you can just take back up the middle or the opposite field.
That's what Mather did earlier. The 0-1 pitch. Grounded to third. 2 outs. Cardinal catcher Yadier Molina 1 for 2. Nobody on, 2 outs. Cardinals half of the 6th. Brand new game. It's 2-2. Here's a 2-2. A 2-2 game, and hit out of play by Yadier Molina. Oh, 1 the count. Pujols with his 21st home run, 61st RBI. Molina has not looked comfortable tonight. There's the breaking ball upstairs and misses. Number 21 for Pujols. 2-2 game.
Still no score between Milwaukee and Chicago.
That is ripped but foul. One and 2 the count on Yadier Molina. Molina slowly hit up the middle. Johnson off balance and safe at first is Molina. Great slide again, his second of the night. The other one was at home plate. This one at first base to avoid the tag.
Well, that's when you running down the line. If you see the heel of a first baseman go up, that's one of the few times you can slide.
And a good call.
Jim Joyce sees that throw off line, tries to make the tag, but misses him. He scored a hit, so second hit for Molina.
Ryan is 1 for 2. Hits a fly ball into right. Lazy fly to Jeff Francoeur. Cardinals have tied it up thanks to Pujols' 21st home run of the season. Leadoff home run here in the top of the 6th into center field. A solo shot midway through 6, and it's 2-2. Cardinal Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. By your local St. Louis Chrysler dealers. And by Jack in the Box. We don't make it until you order it. Turner Field in Atlanta, nightfall upon us. It's a 2-2 game here in the bottom of the 6th. Albert Pujols with his 21st home run. Jeff Rancourt is the 7th place hitter. 7, 8, and 9 against Wellemeyer here in the 6th. Hasn't been easy for Todd, but he picked up some help with that strike him out, throw him out, double play to end last inning. Rancourt has been on base twice. RBI single his first time up in the 2nd. Walked his next time. The 1-0 pitch. Rips this down the left field line, but foul. It's been an interesting series for Molina, scoring on that wild play last night. He scores tonight. He has an infield hit tonight, and he's also struck out. Molina rarely strikes out. He only struck out 4 times in April, 5 in May, 3 in June, and 8 here in July. Late jump by Schumacher. It'll be Ludwig then who takes it. It brings in Corky Miller. You've talked about it with the sinker baller, Al, how sometimes a lack of rest is the best thing for them. With a guy like Wellemeyer, let me ask you this. He throws so hard. As he tires, is it almost better for him?
I think there's a case to be made for it. You know, he struggles early, wears himself down. You know, he just all of a sudden he kind of finds the groove and release point a little bit better.
The pitcher's spot is due up next. Miller is struck out tonight and also grounded out to 2nd. Campillo is at the on deck circle. It's a little low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, his pitch count gets up there when you talk about the first couple innings. Kyle McClellan throws. He'll be over 100 pitches when this inning is through.
Well, if you're looking at bringing Carpenter back at the major league level, this might be the right time to be facing the Braves. No Teixeira, no Chipper Jones, no McCann. Liner that's caught by Brendan Ryan.
I think you're right about this. This is not the Murderers Row or even the Atlanta Braves of earlier in the season.
Carpenter goes tomorrow. Pitch count at 94 for Wellemeyer, and he's due up first for the Cardinals in the 7th. A fastball and a strike on the outside corner to Campillo. I was talking with Chris Carpenter yesterday, and he is, let's just say, he's fairly excited about the start. Can't wait. He comes back with a team that has a chance to get into postseason play. They're playing for something right now.
Well, we also didn't know if that was going to be the case, but this team has been very resilient, surprised all of us. It's been fun to watch the Cardinals, but this is just like making any biggest trade you can make. Get Carpenter back, and he'll be, not only is he pumped up about it, but his teammates are all looking forward to it. And the same will be said when Wainwright comes back.
Strikeout of Campillo. Wellemeyer due up first when we come back. 2-2 after 6. Tomorrow on our Cardinals Live pregame show, tune in for our weekly Wednesday installment. Rick Horton's Tales from the 80s. Every Wednesday, the former Cardinal reliever and current FSN analyst gives us his inside take on funny stories and amusing anecdotes from one of the most popular periods in Cardinal history. Tune in at 5 for Cardinals Live on FSN Midwest. Wellemeyer's spot is up, so Rick Ankiel will be the pinch hitter. As Tony La Russa was telling us, he can hit. The problem is running.
Obviously, he must feel good enough to go up there and hit and jog down to first base, but that's what it was he was running on Saturday night when he hit a double. That's when he felt the abdominal strain.
First pitch is taken for a ball. So Todd Wellemeyer's night is through. Gives the Cardinals 6 innings, 2 runs, and allows 8 hits. The 1-0 pitch to Rick. 2-0.
They just have to walk.
Here's a 2-0. Make it 3-0. Is Turris on deck? They have to figure if Ankiel would reach, they'd pinch run for him.
And the question is, do you use a pitcher to pinch run?
Three and 1. Years past, it's been a spot that Jason Marquis would run. He also would pinch hit. So Joel Pinheiro run the other day. The 3-1 to Rick Ankiel. Fouled back. Ankiel has a 9-game hitting streak. 15 for 41 during the streak and a .366 average and a couple of home runs. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Just missed on the outside corner, and the go-ahead run is at first base.
And here comes Pinheiro to pinch run.
James Wyas is tonight's merchandise winner, the Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run, James Wyas qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Let's see what the Cardinals want to do here with this Turris.
His first walk allowed by Campillo.
He struck out 5. He's given up 7 base hits. RBIs tonight, a double by Ryan and a solo home run by Albert Pujols. Short lead at first by Pinheiro. Bunt is on. It's out in front of the plate. Fair ball. Out at second. On to first. Safe.
He's deadened it too much as it almost backed up, and an easy play for Corky Miller to throw out Pinheiro, the lead man. Watch you get this bunt down and watch it just back up right there into the catcher and gets the force out at second base as Turris beats the return throw. So sometimes you get that little English on that ball and it backs up toward the catcher and he bobbles it or boots it.
It's Turris, good speed at first base. Here's Schumacher. He's 1 for 3 on the night.
Turris leads the team with 10 stolen bases.
Schumacher with a base hit back in the 5th. He's also flied out to right and grounded out to second. Wellemeier on the night, 1 walk and 5 strikeouts in his 6 innings of work. With Isringhausen now, Al, as the closer, it sets up the way that Tony La Russa would like. There's more defined roles out there in that bullpen.
It just makes it a lot easier. Is Franklin be the 8th inning guy? Is he the 9th inning guy? You know, Springer and McClellan are going to precede that. Saw McClellan warming up, and we probably would assume that he'll come out of the pen and pitch the 7th, start the inning.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. Schumacher fights it off, but it's popped up at short. It's up to Joe Mather with 2 outs and a runner at first. Schumacher 1 for 4. Mather is 1 for 3 with a single up the middle and an 0-2 pitch back in the 3rd.
Chicago is taking a 1-0 lead. Batting in the 5th inning at Milwaukee.
2-2 game. Mather homered here last night.
Time was called.
It was called by the home plate umpire, Tim Cheetah. Mather takes a fastball and a strike. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 7th, it'll be the top of the lineup for Atlanta. Blanco, Escobar, and Kotsay. Up the middle, Escobar to his left, flips to second, and it's time to stretch. A 2-2 game midway through 7 from Turner Field in Atlanta. Sports Ultimate Nightly Highlight Show is here. It's the final score, the only national show that gives you nothing but wall-to-wall highlights. The final score tonight following our postgame show here on FSN Midwest. Bottom of the 7th here at Turner Field in Atlanta. Wellemeyer is through for the night. The Cardinals will turn it over to Ryan Franklin. Our Chevrolet called to the bullpen. Franklin has had a rough stretch. Saturday at New York was his 6th blown save. Went 2 innings in that game. He gave up the home run to Tatis to tie it up. 2 innings, 3 hits, 1 run in that game. Gave up the home run, then recorded the next 6 outs. So he is out of that closer's role. But you see what's happened in his last 3 outings. And home runs, Al, certainly been a problem.
Yeah, they have 8 on the season, but 5 or 6 of them have been in the last couple weeks. So he's starting here the 7th inning. Opponents are hitting .289 off him. That's a bit surprising on top of it.
Top of the lineup, Blanco, Escobar, and Kotsay. How concerned are you with confidence right now with Ryan Franklin?
I'm more concerned with him just being, worn out. His breaking pitches haven't had the life to him. He's left a lot of pitches out over the middle of the plate, and that's what they've hit the home runs off of.
It's a fastball that misses outside. 2-0 on Blanco. He's had a nice night. 3 hits and an RBI. 3 for 3, 3 singles.
Hadn't pitched since Saturday night, but sometimes you need a little more than a couple days off.
2-1. Ichiro picks up his 3,000th career professional hit.
He had his Japan numbers to his U.S. numbers. He was sitting on 2,999.
It's bunted past Franklin, do or die, and Ryan can't make the play. Blanco is 4 for 4.
Mentioned speed is his game. Couple infield hits tonight. He leads their team in stolen bases, and he puts a little pressure on the defense. Franklin usually very good at fielding his position, but he bunted him hard enough to get by him and underneath his dive. And Ryan comes in here, do or die. He had to just flip it on the run, but good speed. Blanco was safe.
John Lackey is not allowed to hit to the Red Sox through 7 innings for the Angels.
It's like Angels, and they got a commanding lead of 6-0. Looks like Baltimore is going to beat the Yankees. And Tampa Bay has got a 3-0 lead on Toronto in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Chicago has a 1-run lead, top of the 5th over Milwaukee.
I'm kind of out Ryan Braun and company late in that game.
But what they did last night. Popped in the air. Franklin will catch it and make the out, but you wonder if he was thinking about letting that drop. and maybe turning the double play. The Cardinals camp out presented by Bass Pro Shops and Tracker Boats is back on Friday, September 12th. Cardinals take on the Pirates. Come spend a night on the field and under the stars at Busch Stadium. Number to call is 345-9000 or visit us as always online at stocardinals.com. Big out there, and it brings in Kotze. Kotze 1 for 3. I'm sure that play crossed his mind with the pop-up. Seen Franklin with that quick move. He's got some of the quickest feet on the mound making that move.
Albert, like he's disappointed in the call. Snap tag. Very close there.
A little bigger lead this time for Blanco. We saw his speed on that bunt hit. Not going and foul. On the count. Kotze is popped out to short, fly to left and singled.
Blanco leads the team with 10 stolen bases.
Pitch. Franklin quickly to the plate, but that misses. Cardinals will have Pujols, Ludwig, and Gloss coming up in the top of the 8th.
There is activity in the Braves bullpen.
2-1 pitch. Out to left field, Mather. Makes the catch for out number 2. Back to first is Blanco. Two outs and a runner at first. And here is Greg Norton with the 2-hit night.
Might be interesting, and Franklin can get out of this inning with a few pitches. Let him go back out for the 8th inning.
We did have a shot of McClellan getting loose.
Yeah, but I mean, you give a quality setup guy for tomorrow night, the backup Carpenter.
Two outs, runner at first. That pitch in the dirt, but gets away from Molina. Blanco to second. Wide turn there. He'll stop. As Molina tried to pick it and not block it.
Take a look at this pitch here. It's acted more like he was crossed up on it. But you're right. Instead of dropping down, he tried to pick it and not the technique. It did bounce quite a bit out in front of the plate.
Crowd of 29,541 tonight. Go ahead run in scoring position. Franklin said he knew in his head that Izzy is the closer. I'm just here to fill in until he got ready, which in his mind he thinks he is. So he's out of that role and in this role. Just missed 2-0. Cardinals bullpen has allowed 7 home runs, 15 earned runs in the last 33 2/3 innings. Franklin converted 14 of 20 saves, but 5 of his past 9 appearances have just been awful. Allowed 20 hits, 5 of those have been home runs. 2-1.
That's what I just think he was a little bit worn out, and Just didn't have the life on his pitches, wasn't getting the ball down. Looks like he's a little bit more comfortable tonight.
The Cardinals felt that Isringhausen looked good over the weekend, so he's in that familiar spot at the back end of games. The 2-1 pitch. Omar Infante is on deck. 3-1 the count. Schumacher shading the hitter a bit to pull and doesn't have to worry about it. That's ball 4. Inning started with a bunt base hit. Then Escobar, the second hitter, popped up to the pitcher Franklin trying to bunt. A line out to left by Kotze, a ball that got past Molina, allowing Blanco to get to second. Kotze draws the walk, and now it's Omar Infante. First and second, and he is 0 for 3 on the night. Braves about hit the Cardinals 9-7. 2-2 game here in the 7th inning. Good pitch, doesn't get the call. 1-1. A broken bat. Shallow left center. Mather is there and makes the catch. The Braves strand 2. They have stranded 9 on the night. Pujols is due up first. You are born with 2 strikes against you, so don't take a third one on your own. Connie Mack and our Geico quote. Connie Mack with 3,731 wins. Lackey, by the way, just lost his no-hitter with 1 out in the ninth. Rafael Soriano, 12th appearance. He's been very good in our Chevrolet call to the bullpen.
He's spent 2 different stints on the disabled list. Just recently was activated Monday, where he missed 37 games with right elbow inflammation. Earlier, he missed 45 games with that same right elbow tendonitis. But
2 for 2 with a home run against Soriano is Pujols. Pujols, Ludwig, and Gloss.
Right-handed batters are batting .095 against him. 2 for 21. Lefty's not better. 188.
Off speed pitch and a strike to Albert Pujols. Soriano, a guy that just slings it up there, but he can throw hard. 1 for 3 tonight is Pujols with a solo home run to center. That tied it up at 2-2 back in the 6th. We are in the 8th. And that's hit down the right field line. Francoeur giving chase, and it's a fair ball just inside the line. And it's a leadoff double for Albert Pujols, who's now 3 for 3 against Soriano. Boy, he's amazing.
Time better be lucky than good, you know, but he's both. As he got a pitch, didn't put a real good swing on it, but it hits right inside the foul pole just by a matter of inches for the leadoff double.
Ludwig tonight with a base hit back in the 4th.
You know, he's very tough, but the one thing looking at Soriano's numbers, first batter he faces, he's not very good. Just 6 for 12.
Ludwig, a liner to short. Hits into some tough luck as he lines out to short.
All right, got a break. Oh, there's the Albert swing right there. You see balls out away from him. And once again, how does he keep that ball fair?
One out, Pujols at second base. Here's Troy Glaus, who is 0 for 3. Pair of strikeouts. He's also grounded out to third against Soriano, 1 for 3. Cardinals jumped out to a 1-0 lead in the second. Braves tied it up, then took the lead in the bottom half of that inning, 2-1. Pujols solo home run in the sixth, tied it up 2-2. All three batters so far, Soriano has started them out with a breaking ball. 1-0 pitch to Troy. Pujols is stealing third. He does, and the ball gets away, and Albert will score the go-ahead run. 3-2 Cardinals. How about that?
How about that is right. Troy Glaus is a big body for Corky Miller to throw around or over. He can't get over him. Albert stewing on the play, and just the errant throw, and the Cardinals take a lead. Heads up, base running. Troy Glaus is not going to move him and bit and make that catcher go around him. You can't go over him when you're 6'5". And Corky Miller, changing that angle, makes an errant throw.
So Pujols just takes matters into his own hands, gets a leadoff double, steals third, and scores. I guess we shouldn't be surprised.
No, but
the 2-1 pitch almost hit Glaus, 3-1.
Cardinal fans are going to help out here. They're going to be cheering. Come on, Albert. I think you heard Oquendo first.
That's the 5th stolen base for Pujols. Brendan Ryan with 6. Schumacher has 8. Kennedy with 5, and Isturiz leads the club with 10. So it gives you an idea this team doesn't steal many. Makes me think of a play earlier this year, Al, excuse me, but that slow roller that was hit in Colorado. Remember that? He was running at second base and came around to score. The element of surprise from Pujols. 3-2 pitch. Doesn't chase, and it's a 1-out walk. Now, how does Tony La Russa want to play this 8th inning and then the 9th inning?
You know, I mean, we'll see. We can't tell in the bullpen whether he has a reliever warming up. I want to leave Franklin in there. So Franklin will more than likely pitch the 8th inning.
You made an interesting observation. Franklin, you know, maybe running out of gas a little bit. Is it the wisest of moves to bring him back out there for a 2nd inning?
Well, obviously they feel he's got plenty in the tank. And Dave Duncan sent a quick message to Marty Mason in the bullpen.
This could be 2 if they're quick at second. Out there, out at first. Double play. Soriano gives up the double to Albert Pujols. He steals third and then comes around to score on the errant throw by Miller. Cardinals on top. It's 3-2. Let's take a look at the Cardinals game recap, and it's brought to you by Jack in the Box as Ryan Franklin continues to take his warm-up tosses, and he is in relief of Todd Wellemeyer. Things got started early on for the Cardinals. Molina, a little bit of everything tonight. His slide at the plate, a strike him out, throw him out. That proved to be a big part of this game, and also his slide at first. Albert Pujols tied it up. That home run, a solo shot. Then a double and a stolen base for Albert. And that is the go-ahead run as the fans have enjoyed Mr. Pujols and what he has brought to St. Louis over the years. Interesting here to see Franklin back out there for his 2nd inning of work. Cardinals will try to get this to Izzy. 3-2 St. Louis. Kelly Johnson looks at a pitch in the dirt.
Especially interesting that Franklin, his 1st inning, through 17 pitches, he had 9 balls and 8 strikes. Now he falls behind Kelly Johnson.
Johnson, Francoeur, and then Miller. 2 balls and no strikes. Before this year, the last time Pujols stole third was September 4th of 2005 at Houston. That was in the top of the 8th. But the Cardinals up 3-1 in that game. Came around to score. That year he stole a career high 16. Today's steal of third was Pujols' second in 08 and his 9th in 13 career attempts. Here's a 2-1, 3-1. Cubs are up 5-0 with the bases loaded and nobody out. They've scored 4 in the 6th so far. 3 balls and 1 strike on Johnson. Lead off walk.
Ouch. It's not what Tony wanted. And now it makes things much more interesting. Second walk issued in the 1+ inning by Franklin.
Francoeur is 2 for 3 with a home run against Ryan Franklin. Ryan could use the double play. Big gap in left center. Shocking for a lot of people to see at the start of play. Jeff Francoeur only hitting .232.
9 home runs of the players in this lineup for the Braves. He leads with his 46 RBIs.
0-1 is hit down the right field line, and that'll be out of play and foul.
Trying to work him inside. And that's fine if you get it in there far enough, but frequently you miss middle half and it's a shorter distance to left field for the home run.
Ben Sheets is done in his game. 6-0 Cubs, 1 out in the 6th. So it looks like Chicago may get through Sabathia and Sheets. 1-2. Final 6 outs in this ball game. Looks like it may be up to Franklin and hopefully Isringhausen in the 9th if the Cardinals can get there with the lead.
We had an easy time of it last night, but this is more typical of how these games have been. Very little margin for error.
2-2. Well, we talked about how Franklin has not been as sharp as we've seen him before, and certainly that's been the last couple of weeks, and right now he's not looking real sharp, and McClellan is getting loose in a hurry. 2-2 pitch to Francoeur. The 2-2.
So that slider just doesn't have the bite to it, and finish it off, down and away. Start it on the corner and then have it break. As that ball just hung in the middle of the zone. Splitter doesn't have the same command. The cutter, fastball at times looks like it's very straight.
2-2. Francoeur reaches for it. With what you see right now from Franklin, depending on what happens here, Al, would this be the last batter you think maybe he faces? Especially after the leadoff walk.
No, because he's going to get a double play ball.
Okay. We shall see. The 2-2 to Francoeur. 3-2. See if they want to start the runner. That's Johnson at first. This crowd comes alive here at Turner Field. 29,541.
Yachty looked like he was trying to on a 3-2 pitch. It looked like he was high on his haunches, trying to get him to go up the ladder. But if he doesn't swing at it, it's a different ball. Let's see what it looked like he was doing. Now stay down.
3-2 pitch. They started the runner. No play at second. Francoeur is out.
I had my double play ball, but starting the runner, they avoid it.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. McClellan is up for the second time. He would figure that he's ready to roll. And he has been very good against lefties. Now, that's Ruben Gotay, who is a switch hitter.
But, you know, Tony will tell you that he has a lot of confidence in Franklin to retire left-handed batters also.
Two for 10 against Ryan Franklin is Gotay. Had a base hit here last night.
Batting 130 right-handed, 246 left-handed.
Good speed at second base, and Johnson in the first pitch is taken for a ball. We saw Cal McClellan on Saturday night go right through the heart of the Mets lineup with the game on the line.
And that was as impressive as we have seen him in a while.
2-0. He struck out David Wright, Delgado, and Carlos Beltran in the 8th inning of that ball game after a leadoff base hit by Chavez.
33 pitches thrown, 18 balls, 15 strikes. Behind in the count again.
Hit hard to second. Brendan Ryan makes the play.
Brado now is going to pinch hit.
And basically, Bobby Cox is through with his bench. He's got Clint Sammons there, but he's the catcher. And you know that McCann can't play. You've already used Gotay here. Greg Norton had to make the start after the trade of Teixeira, so you're down to your backup catcher on the bench for Bobby Cox. Tying run is at third base.
And Sammons has got to come in and catch because they pinch hit for Corky Miller.
Right. So that's it. Can Ryan Franklin get one more out and send us to the 9th? Long visit with Yadier Molina. Two outs, tying run at third base. Cardinals lead it 3-2 here in the bottom of the 8th. First pitch to Prado, a strike. Cardinals will have the bottom of their lineup coming up in the 9th. Franklin trying to keep it a 1-run lead for St. Louis. It's Kelly Johnson over at third. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Cardinals, if you're just joining us, have taken the lead. Well, they tied it up thanks to Pujols with his solo home run. And then Pujols with a leadoff double in this inning. Stole third base, and on the throw by Corky Miller, the starting catcher for the Braves, he threw it into left field, and Pujols would score. Good pitch, just missed off the corner. 2-1.
Prado since July the 8th has hit .571 as a pinch hitter with 1 home run, 7 RBIs. He got his first career pinch hit home run on Sunday back on 2 weeks ago on July 20th.
2-1 pitch. The outside corner again. On deck, it's Blanco, who is 4 for 4. Tony La Russa back to the phone.
He's got to get a lefty up for Prado, don't you?
Blanco.
Blanco, I mean. And maybe
again,
just say he's coming in.
Yeah. McClellan has been very good against those lefties. 3-1 pitch. 3-2. And the other thing is, right now you're not sure about how much confidence you have in Flores, who's feeling for his mechanics. And you saw Valone last night with a big lead get the first 2 outs, and then he had to be lifted in that game. Couldn't get the third and final out. So maybe in Tony's mind, his best option would be McClellan if we need him.
And we will know that in a pitch or two.
Full count. Here it comes. And he got him a called third strike. And Franklin strikes out Martin Prado to send us to the 9th. Cardinals trying to hold on. It's a 3-2 St. Louis lead. The strikeout of Prado on the black of the outside corner. Reaction of Tony La Russa. Ooh, 3-2 St. Louis. Baseball from Atlanta on FSM Midwest is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light. By Chevrolet, see for yourself, shop and compare at STLchevy.com. And by Sonic, it's not just good, it's Sonic good. A lot of people like this guy, Mike Gonzalez.
Well, with good reason. He was activated on June 5th or 18th. His first time since undergoing Tommy John surgery last year. Came over from Pittsburgh in the LaRoche deal. But Dan, he's converted each of his last 34 save opportunities. And that's the longest current streak of any kind in the major leagues. Gonzalez has not blown a save in more than 4 years.
A lot of movement out there on the mound. Well, one thing about Gonzalez, we saw him a bunch when he was with the Pirates. Watch him when he addresses the pitching. I don't remember him doing this. All that motion out there.
I don't either. You know, trying to hitters trying to get a timing mechanism, and I guess he's trying to get his rhythm, trying to get feeling free and easy. He's only 30 years of age, listed as 6'2", 213. He's 4 for 4 in save opportunities, but I don't remember seeing him do that either.
That's the slider, and it's outside and hit out of play by Ryan.
Right-handed batters are batting 167 against him. Lefty's a little better at 214.
The top of the lineup is due up for the Atlanta Braves in the bottom of the 9th. 3-2 Cardinals. The 1-2 pitch to Brendan Ryan. Lifted into shallow center field. Kotze won't get there. A base hit.
Really wouldn't hurt if the Cardinals could add to the lead.
Let's see what the Cardinals want to do here. Pinch hitter, it'll be Nick Stavinoa. Now they called him back. It's going to be Miles now. So Miles will hit for Franklin. We assume that Isringhausen is getting loose in the pen.
And with Aaron coming up here, you know the bunt is a possibility. You also maybe think about the hit and run. Miles kind of guy that can hit behind a runner.
A switch hitter, leadoff base hit for Brendan Ryan. Some insurance would be nice. There's the bunt. Hit to first, spinning and throwing, and into the outfield it goes. Brendan Ryan on his way to third. You could see that happening. Norton, his momentum taking him towards third base, and he threw it on the other side of the bag. That's a couple of costly throws for the Braves, with the Cardinals on the base pass here tonight.
And just as you said, Miles just bunted hard enough trying to get it by the pitcher. Norton comes in, and with a good throw they get the lead man, but totally off balance, almost falling backwards. He throws the ball into center field. Alertly, Ryan gets up and goes on to third. Nowhere near the second base bag, and the Cardinals got a great scoring opportunity.
Here's Isturis. Do you think about the squeeze here?
Nobody out. You know, I just give him a shot. You know, you gotta, you know, Tony likes to employ that, but you know, you also would maybe fall into that thinking as you got Schumacher on deck and how he struggles against left-handed pitching.
First and third, 2 balls, no strikes. Runners scored 7 out of 15 times in this spot for the Cardinals shortstop. The play is ruled a fielder's choice, E3 on the play. Infield is in. Isturis with a base hit. There's some insurance. It's now 4-2. He drives in a run. Miles on his way to third.
Oh, boy.
And Isturis into second base. And again, they throw to the wrong bag.
Boy, isn't that some hustle? Hustle, hustle, hustle. Miles scoots on over there. Isturis does not, you know, hesitate. As he sees Miles takes off, he goes to second base. Double play not in order. Just a line drive over the head out there. But I like Miles, how aggressive he is right here. Not much of a throw by Blanco.
That throw's got to go into second, doesn't it?
Now they can ill afford to give up any more, but he didn't really have a chance at all of getting Miles at third base. So
Isturis, yeah, he winds up at second.
I credit him with being alert and watching the play develop.
And so the Cardinals will go for it here. They will pinch hit for Schumacher. And the pinch hitter will be Nick Stavanoa. Stavanoa pinch hitting for Schumacher, who has really struggled against the lefties. You go for it here, Al, with the offense with Stavanoa, who's had a really good year in the minor leagues, but you do sacrifice the defense with Schumacher out in the bottom of the ninth.
Yeah, you know, it's
2-0.
Usually something that with a 2-run lead, Tony many times is inclined to stay with the defense. Stavanoa could play the outfield, or he could put Miles in the outfield.
Stavanoa, a high fly ball out to left, plenty deep. Runners will tag. Miles will tag up from third. He will score. Nicely done by Nick Stavanoa to make it 5-2 St. Louis. Let's go pitch by pitch, and a real important bat here. Nick Stavanoa, who is hitting .345 with 14 home runs for the Redbirds in the minor leagues.
Breaking ball, that's away. Now they're breaking ball. He hadn't had very good command of it. Breaking ball, and this time he gets underneath it and lifts that fly ball, good enough for the sac fly, and the Cardinals a 5-2 lead.
Here is Joe Mather with 1 out and a runner at second base. A question for Tony La Russa: if it does not wind up being a safe situation in the 9th inning, do you turn to Jason Isringhausen?
I think you do either way. You know, because you're telling him, you're giving him the 9th inning.
Feels a lot better with a 3-run lead, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
The 0-1 to Mather. Up and in. Mather tonight with a base hit. That was back in the 3rd. 5-2 Cardinals. Pujols tied it up in the 6th. He alone put the Cardinals on top in the 8th. Runner goes from second. That would have been a stolen base easily for Cesar Isturis.
Yeah, Gonzalez not paying any attention to Isturis, and if Mather did not foul that pitch off, another big body for catcher to throw over, but I don't think, probably may not have even been a throw.
1-2 the count. Mather got the start tonight. Second spot in this lineup and playing left field. Isturis is the runner at second base. They'll keep him close. And Mather is swinging a miss. It's up to Pujols. First base is open. I want to remind you about your all-access pass to Busch Stadium. The 2008 Cardinals yearbook celebrating a day in the life of Busch Stadium takes you inside the clubhouse, players meetings and more. Discover the book everyone will be talking about. 314-345-9000 or visit STLCardinals.com.
You knew that they were not going to pitch to Albert with first base open. Albert leads the major leagues in intentional passes. It's 24th intentional pass for Albert this year. And overall his 68th walk.
Last night in the ball game, Pujols was intentionally passed in the third. He walked a couple of times. And this puts him on base for the third time tonight. It's up to Ludwig with 2 outs and 2 on. Ludwig lined out his last time up with Pujols at second base and nobody out, and the game tied. Lined out to short. He has also popped out to second. He has singled and struck out his first time up.
Bobby Cox bringing in his closer to try and get a little work. Now McClellan.
Now McClellan out. Would he be up just because it's a non-save situation? He gets it.
Well, that to me that'd be the only reason, is if it's a non-save situation, and that's how Tony has always played it when Izzy was the closer. It wasn't a save situation. He went to another pitcher.
1 ball, 1 strike. Dave Duncan was saying maybe it's a case where Isringhausen has to get upset, fired up over the situation, and if that's what's going to get him in the spot he needs to be in and we need him in, so be it.
I fully endorse it. You know, I mean, that's been his role. He was maybe overtures that, you know, he wanted to be back out there again, and if that's the case, you know, let's give it to him.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. 2-2. The Braves carry 3 lefties, and a lot of people are talking about Will Ullman at the trade deadline.
Yeah, a lot of clubs are, and the Cardinals included, have inquired about him.
That's up and in.
And as I said, Gonzalez needed some work, and you bring him in a close game to keep it a 1-run game, and it's because of his defense, but now he's starting to contribute to it also.
3-2 is tap foul.
Now he's 28 pitches into this inning.
$17 runs for the Cardinals the last 2 nights. Can they add to it here in the 9th?
23 hits, double figures again tonight with 10.
Runners go, and that's in the dirt. So a chance for third baseman Troy Gloss with the bases loaded.
Roger McDowell is going to come out and talk. They have activity in their bullpen, but this is not the way they expected this inning to develop. He's walked 2, 1 intentional. He's given up 2 base hits. A sac fly, struck out 1. There was the big error committed behind him.
Lost tonight, twice has struck out. He has grounded out to third and walked. He has 4 grand slams in his career. With this long inning, you wonder about the availability of Gonzalez tomorrow in Game 3.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's that is a concern.
Is Boyer getting loose? 2-0.
Been all over the place. He hadn't had command of his breaking ball. His fastball hasn't been much better. Coming off of Tommy John surgery.
The 2-0 pitch. Two and one. The 2-1 pitch. Ooh, fouled back. 2-2 with the bases loaded here in the ninth. 5-2 St. Louis. Cardinals with a run in the second. 1 in the 6th and the Pujols solo home run. Albert would double in the 8th, steal third, score the go-ahead run. Wild throw as he was trying to steal that bag, and 2 here in the ninth. 3-2 with the bases loaded. Turning into a long inning for Gonzalez.
35 pitches at least.
The next to Troy Gloss, off speed pitch, and he walked him. They checked the swing. He did not go around. Isturiz scores, and it's turned into a big inning for the Cardinals. They now lead it by 4, and that's going to be it for Gonzalez. Walk for Gloss, and the RBI is number 71. 2 walks in the game for Troy. Pitching change coming up for Bobby Cox and the Braves. We'll tell you about it when we come back. 6-2 St. Louis. 6-2 Cardinals as we are in the top of the ninth and the bases are loaded. Gonzalez knocked out of the game, and this is a new right-hander in. Blaine Boyer, his 57th appearance for Bobby Cox with a record of 2-6 and a 4.29 ERA.
Been really busy. He came into tonight's game tied for the major league lead with those 56 previous appearances. First batter retired, 32 of 56. Right-handed batters are 228 against him. Lefties 256.
Isringhausen is
set down.
Yep. So it's going to be McClellan. He's up for the 3rd time tonight. So 2 outs, bases loaded. Here's Yadier Molina. Molina with a couple of singles. He has struck out and grounded into a double play. He could really put this game out of reach. First pitch to Yadi. Up the middle and a base hit. 1 run is in. Here comes another one. This will make it 8-2. Molina with 2 outs and the bases loaded comes through. He now has 40 RBIs this year.
40 and 26 of them have come with 2 outs.
Cardinals have batted around in this 9th inning.
Just a little ground ball that's got enough to sneak on through and didn't get to the center fielder Kotze until 2 runs scored.
And everything started with a blue base hit by Brendan Ryan to start the 9th. Oh, he's almost hit by the pitch.
A couple times the ball's been up and in at Brendan. Ball just taking off, running inside. That's how you get out of the way of it. You spin backwards.
1-0 pitch.
Up and in, and then a breaking ball down and away.
2 balls and a strike on Brendan Ryan. Runners at first and second. Houston has jumped out on top 6-1 now. That's in the 8th. Chicago in control of their game at Milwaukee, 6-0 Cubs. That's in the 8th.
Milwaukee would slip to 3 games back. Cardinals, like they'll stay 4 back.
Step on the bag for the final outs. Big inning for the Cardinals. They pick up 5 here in the top of the 9th. St. Louis leads it 8-2.
Up after the game on US Cellular, Cardinals Live. Pat Paris and Rick Horton are in the studio, and we're going to break down the trade deadline as it approaches, plus what's next for Adam Wainwright, and talk about the start made by Todd Wellemeyer here tonight. And the bat's alive again here this evening for the Redbirds. That and more. US Cellular, Cardinals Live. Pat and Rick after the game, guys.
Okay, thank you, Brent. And it's 8-2 St. Louis, bottom half of the 9th. Well, now you know that he is definitely the new closer, because this is the way that Tony would play it. Isringhausen, non-save situation. And he sits down and turns it over to Kyle McClellan.
Very capable hands of Kyle McClellan. You mentioned Saturday picked up his 25th hole, and he was as good as we've seen him. Struck out the side and one inning work. Did allow a little scratch hit, but he was a leadoff single, and then he fanned 3 right through the middle of the order.
Pitch taken low and away. The top of the lineup, Gregor Blanco for the Braves. It's been a really good year for Kyle McClellan. The St. Louisan emerged out of nowhere. But if you ask the Cardinals personnel, they had a pretty good eye on him, but they didn't realize he was going to be with the Cardinals at this point in his career. They knew he was good, but he's bounced back from those surgeries and really pitched well. 3-0. He's up now for the 3rd time. At least he was in the bullpen, and now he's into this game.
Right, and you know, Kyle, the 2 elbow operations, never pitching above Double-A. He was going to be the opening day starter at Memphis, but Dave Duncan took a liking to him very early in spring training, and he ended up making the team, and what a wise decision that was. You don't like the leadoff walk, and right now when you got a 6-run lead, by the way, only 1 of those 5 runs in the top of 9th were earned. You know, you would rather have, you know, as Tony's mind saying, I'd rather have a guy hit a home run than give him a free pass.
The bullpen is set for 23 losses, 25 blown saves this year, and scored upon in its past 8 games entering this series. And it's been a busy bullpen, to say the least. There's a chopper hit too short. Is Turris to second? Nope. Throws it away. Can't have that.
No, and you know, the Cardinals just were given gifts, and now you just don't, a free pass, and then you throw away. It wouldn't have been a double play, but you would add 1 out and a runner at first base.
Budweiser, player of the game. Nobody out. Runners at first and third. Budweiser, the great American lager. And we turn to Albert Pujols. And Pujols was able to tie it up. That was in the 6th with his solo home run and his 21st of the year. Then he doubled in the 8th, stole 3rd. The ball would get away to left field, and he would come around to score at that time. The go-ahead run. This should be the first out. Turris calling for it, makes the catch. Now, normally we don't see Turris real lackadaisical, but he certainly was on that throw to second. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, he came in on the ball, wasn't hit particularly hard, and then he had to kind of throw back across his body to second base and Brendan Ryan, and then threw an errant throw.
Here's Norton. A double play can end it. Norton on base 3 times, couple of singles and a walk. 3 home runs, 16 RBIs. Runner from first will take the bag at second. They'll go over the signals now with the runner at second base. Chris Carpenter tomorrow night. We're on the air at 5 o'clock. Here's an 0-1 pitch to Norton. Off-speed pitch. I think a logical question at this point is, why do you see McClellan into this game and maybe not Jimenez or Thompson? You know, Thompson is your long guy, so maybe you might need him tomorrow.
You need him tomorrow.
But Jimenez.
Well, I still think that Tony wants to win this game. And not saying they wouldn't, but, you know, Jimenez is also a guy that you can go multiple innings with tomorrow. So, you just get into a situation, you have a couple guys that can get you late in that ball game, and hopefully you won't need them. I have no problem with Kyle the way he throws.
Many times, if you get him up twice, you're going to keep him in there. Pujols will flip to McClellan. A run will score. Cuts the lead to 8-3.
Time to end this one, though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Ponte 0 for 4 tonight.
Hit hard to third, but this should do it. Gloss to Pujols. Cardinals have taken the first 2. 8-3, the final tonight. Big night for Albert. Cardinals with 11 hits. They've taken the first 2 in this series. U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live is coming up. Please stay with us.
The game is over. Cardinal victory. Rick Horton and I standing by to break it all down on U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. Your thoughts?
Well, the Braves are a down team right now, Pat. No question about that. But the Cardinals do something they haven't done much all year. They score runs late and hold the other team down late.
They certainly did. Much more on that coming up. Plus, could Todd Wellemeyer pick up where Braden Looper left off last night? We'll break that down as well. And we'll take you inside the Cardinal clubhouse there in Atlanta. Post-game reaction, Tony La Russa's thoughts as well. And we'll have the latest on Adam Wainwright. And we'll get you ready for Chris Carpenter's return to the Redbirds tomorrow. Plus, with the trade deadline less than 48 hours away, we'll do our best GM impression and tell you what the Cardinals should do. Hang up the phone, John Mozeliak, at least for an hour for U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live.
Welcome to U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live.
Hello once again, everybody. Welcome inside our FSM Midwest studio in St. Louis. It's the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live, along with the former Cardinal hurler, Ricky Horton. I'm Pat Paris. Coming up, we're going to break down tonight's victory over the Braves, go inside the Cardinal clubhouse down in Atlanta. Plus, what should the Cardinals do at the trade deadline? Rick and I will discuss that coming up. And don't forget, you can get involved in this program. It's U.S. Cellular text time. Send us a text message involving the Cardinals. It is 37289, the number. Remember to include your name, where you're texting from in that message. Standard text messaging rates, of course, do apply. Let's head right back to Turner Field. Brent Stover, just a few moments ago, catching up with Yadier Molina, our Mid-America Chevrolet Dealers Player of the Game. Brent?
Pat, thanks. Back-to-back wins. You kind of feel like your team is back on track, Yadi?
That's right. I mean, we've been hitting the ball good. We've been pitching good, keeping the ball down, a lot of ground ball. I mean, the defense is great. I mean, we're back on the track.
Good hard base running again for you tonight, scoring that run in the second inning. What is it with you the last couple of nights?
I don't know what's going on right now, but you know, I feel good. My left feel good, so I don't know.
And that slide in home plate, I mean, that was key. The throw definitely beat you. Where do you learn how to do that?
I don't know. I think that Pujols teach me that. I mean, I think Albert teach me that. No, it was fun, you know, running from third to home. It was fun.
How was Wellemeyer tonight?
It was okay. It was okay, you know. The fastball, it was so aggressive. We were keeping the fastball away from them, and the changeup too. It was good.
3-hit night. Congrats.
Thank you.
Yadier Molina. Pat, back to you.
Well, I think Yadi was almost alluding to it with Wellemeyer. Even this whole game, it's not a thing of beauty, Rick. You're not going to put this game on, you know, in a time capsule and bring it out for great games in Cardinal history. But a win's a win, and they got it done. That's the important thing, that they got the W.
Well, he said Wellemeyer was okay, and I mean, you could think of a lot worse words to say than okay, and I think it's really a compliment to Yadi and Wellemeyer both that they worked through him not having his best stuff maybe, but still getting some outs. And how about Yadier Molina? 3 hits again tonight, and not only what he did on the base pass, which we're going to talk more about, but this guy is acting like he should have been an all-star, and we maybe thought he was about a month ago, but with that average over 300 now, Pat, that he is one of the best catchers in the National League.
Exactly right. Let's get more analysis of you from the booth. It is back to Atlanta. The men who just called the game for you, Dan McLaughlin, Al Rabowski, rejoin us to put a wrap on a win that makes it 2 in a row there in Atlanta, guys.
Yeah, Pat and Ricky, thank you. And the Cardinals are getting good hitting. They're scoring a bunch of runs in this series. The pitching has been decent. But we're seeing a Braves team, Al, that is not like we usually see. Bobby Cox's teams that are so buttoned up with their pitching, their hitting, and certainly their defense. And the defense has been a real problem for them the last couple of nights.
Yeah, almost painful from Bobby's standpoint to watch his defense. Last night was all the outfielders air-mailing throws and the Cardinals taking advantage and really putting themselves in scoring position. Tonight, some bad baseball once again, some errors. Look at this. Albert took things in his own hands as they steal a run right there. Here's another crushing blow, and we had like 4 or 5 unearned runs again here tonight. And, you know, it's a situation where the Cardinals are trying to gain wins, and they're playing a club that really is decimated by injuries. So you have to take advantage of it. There's a lot of careless play here tonight, and the Cardinals come out on top.
Your thoughts on Wellemeyer?
You know, he wasn't spectacular, but you know, true to form, you know, he gives himself and his team a chance to win this ball game. He didn't get the win, but it's more importantly the team does.
And Pat, later in the show, we'll talk about a big start tomorrow. Everybody's going to be watching very closely as Chris Carpenter makes his 08 debut. We send it back to you.
All right, we're all looking forward to that, and we'll talk to you in just a few minutes. How about the highlights now from this one? We pick it up in the top of the second, 2 outs, runner on first, Brendan Ryan bloops one to right, and this will fall. That's an RBI double. Ryan will advance all the way to third on the throw, and it's 1-0 Cards. 9th RBI for Ryan came into the game. Yadier Molina slides in safely there, and that's a one we'll be talking about. Bottom of the second, no outs and a runner on second for Jeff Francoeur. Singles to center off Todd Wellemeyer. Run does come in and ties the game up at 1. Then later in the second inning, 2 outs and 1 on for Gregor Blanco. Singles up the middle, and that scores a run. Braves go on top by the score of 2-1. But in the top of the 6th, Albert Pujols steps up. See ya. The self-proclaimed line drive hitter with the solo homer, tying the game at 2. Number 21 for Pujols on the season. To the top of the 7th we go. And Rick Ankiel comes up in a pinch-hitting role for Todd Wellemeyer and draws the walk, so he's healthy enough to pinch hit, and he's coming back from that ab strain that's kept him out of now 3 straight games. To the top of the 8th, Pujols leading off, and not a home run this time, but how about an opposite field double? Nearly goes out, so Albert winds up at second base. 2 batters later, and Troy Gloss is at the plate, and Pujols is stealing third base. He'll steal it, and then the errant throw by catcher Corky Miller, and the Cards retake the lead at 3-2 on Albert Pujols' heads-up and aggressive base running. Top of the 9th, no outs, runners on the corner. Cesar and Turris singles to left, driving in a big insurance run. Advances to second on the throw, as well as the runner Miles advancing to third. They score a season-high 5 runs in the 9th inning and win the game 8-3. They get plenty of offense. In fact, they have 11 hits, 8 runs. The Cardinals, Rick, 51-13 now when they have 10 or more hits. So that seems to be key, obviously, for the offensive attack.
And again, they were spread out pretty evenly.
Yep.
Nobody really was the sole offensive star of this game. Pujols with the home run certainly helped. Gloss walked a couple of times. Really, everybody did something in this lineup.
Let's take a text, U.S. Cellular text time, and it's Marcus who's becoming a real regular on our show from Oklahoma City since Ricky's return. 2 games, 2 wins. That's the Horton charm.
Oh, I missed Marcus. I missed Marcus.
he loves to pat you on the back.
Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate that. You know, I don't want to take the credit because I have to take the blame if things don't go so well. But I appreciate the thought.
Your buddy Jack Clark was taking some grief. He was 0 for 4 there last week for a while until they won that 14-inning game Saturday.
And very nice to have Jack Phil. And Jack is one of my favorite people. And, you know, when people played with him, anybody that played with him owes him a lot because he got the Cardinals single-handedly to the World Series a couple of times. There are other guys that helped, but Jack was the glue of that club, and I have so much respect for that man.
Can we call him a home run hitter, a power hitter?
He is absolutely that.
Okay.
People would stand around and watch him take batting practice the way they do with Albert and the way they did with McGuire.
Well, we kid because Albert does see himself as a line drive hitter. I think most in baseball consider him a home run hitter, a
I think
power
he sees
hitter.
himself as a base runner today.
Yeah, he certainly did. Let's take a look at Albert's night. And it didn't start off all that well. This Jorge Campillo was, you know, he was dealing for a little while, and Albert was struggling a bit in this one.
A little over-aggressive with that first at-bat. There's a ball up out of the strike zone. He got him to pop up, and does the same thing. Throws the ball up in the zone again, and Albert can't quite get on top of either one of those. It just kind of hits harmless fly balls. Well, this breaking ball was
nothing harmless about that.
Nothing harmless about that. In fact, it knocks this guy out in the front row. Ouch!
Ouch.
Don't sit in the front row.
Somehow they got that ball and threw it back, too.
I think that hurt.
Story.
But anyway, the next at-bat, Albert does another thing that I think is really indicative of why he's such a good player. He takes the ball the other way. He's just not a pull hitter only. He hits the ball very well the other way. He stayed back, kept his hands back on the breaking ball again, and picked up another extra base hit. And then he did something which, you know, unless you follow the Cardinals, you don't realize how unbelievable Albert is at his instincts as he takes off. Now, sometimes he goes a little crazy on the bases, but that was an important part of this game because Albert knows he needs to get to third base for Troy Glaus because Troy Glaus has been struggling the last few days. So I think it was a very smart move by Albert, and you know he got the bonus when the catcher threw the ball in the left field.
Couple of unsung heroes. Brendan Ryan came into the game in July batting 105. He gets a couple of hits. He gets an RBI, scores a run. There's Cesar Izturis, who this is the second straight night he's really contributed. He's 3 for his last 8 in these 2 games, and a couple of runs, a couple of RBIs. I mean, these are the things at the bottom of the lineup that are contributing as well.
Well, you need to have those glue players that are doing something in your lineup. It can't just be all about Albert or all about the guys hitting 3, 4, 5 in your lineup. You need production. Aaron Miles has been the king of that this year with the number of hits he's had, the number of key hits. But Brendan Ryan's got that in his bag of tricks somewhere. Now, we haven't seen enough of that out of him, but I think there's more of that to come. Even Adam Kennedy swung the bat much better this year than he did the year before. So I think, you know, pretty good production up the middle, I would say.
All right, we're going to continue here on U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live. Don't forget, we'll go back to Atlanta and have a reaction from inside the Cardinal clubhouse. Tony La Russa as well. We got to talk about Todd Wellemeyer. We'll break that down coming up.
U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live is brought to you by U.S. Cellular. Believe in something better. And by Helitech. If you have foundation problems or a leaky basement, heal your home with Helitech.
Before tonight's game in Atlanta, Adam Wainwright throwing another bullpen session. While the 65-pitch outing did go well, Wainwright is still fighting his command, and despite previous published reports, his next time on the mound will not be during a rehab start. Wainwright will likely throw another bullpen on Thursday, perhaps to some live hitters.
Felt fine. My arm and hand felt good. My command just stinks, but it'll come along.
You threw a lot of breaking balls at more intensity in this particular bullpen. How was that?
It's good. I mean, it's coming along just like it's supposed to, and just got to keep going.
Did you feel like you were throwing it at 100%? I mean, were you putting?
No, not 100%, but close to. I mean, I was throwing my fastball and changeup 100%, and the rest is a little behind, but not too far behind.
Well, we're looking at, you know, almost 2 months now with him not pitching in a ball game, so you understand the command being off. And Tony La Russa said live on our pregame show that that really wasn't the plan for him to go rehab on Friday. Still wanted to have him face live hitters. And well, you can see his confidence isn't there right now to go face game action, I don't think.
I don't think it is either. One thing I'd say about Adam Wainwright is he's done his homework. I heard him mention earlier today that he had a dozen or so guys that have had this particular issue that he's talked to, big leaguers, former big leaguers, and he's asked every one of them, and he's spoken to them, how did you rehab, how did you handle it, how much time? So, you know, he's really worked at doing his rehab in the right way, and I think that's important. I think early on we weren't sure how serious it was,
right.
And I think the issue was kind of as bad as it could be for that injury, so that's why it's taken more time, and it's been tough for all of us to patiently wait for Adam Wainwright to come back. He was also asked whether or not he was going to come back as a starter or reliever, and his answer was he doesn't know. So I found that pretty compelling.
Right, although the Cardinals have kind of been saying that they'd like to put him on fast track to coming back, which would lend you to believe, well, they're not going to have him do a lot of innings of rehab. Might be bullpen would be the best place to start him out.
And just because you're throwing 65 pitches in a bullpen doesn't mean that you're going to be coming back as a starter, although the Cardinals certainly could use, I mean, I still like the thought of Wainwright, Carpenter, and Loesch in a short series somewhere against the Cubs late in the season. I mean, wouldn't that be exciting? So, you know, I think the plan A would still be that as long as the bullpen is effective, as long as Izzy comes back now that he's been recrowned the closer, as long as he is doing what Izzy has done so many times in the past, then you don't need Wainwright in that role. But, you know, again, we'll have to wait and see on what is happening with the bullpen when he's ready.
I think Wainwright, though, said he doesn't mind being the closer every other October. So this would be the good October
Not a bad
for him
job
to be
to have.
the closer. Let's talk about Todd Wellemeyer tonight. We keep saying, well, he was okay. Yadier Molina said he was just okay tonight. But, you know, okay was more than effective tonight against the Braves light-hitting lineup. But there were some things in there you didn't really like about Todd Wellemeyer. I think weren't exactly sharp for him tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you always want to get the bad news over with first. So we'll start with the bad news and not the good news. And the bad news was some of the location of his fastball. He gave up a lot of hits early on, and most of them were with fastballs. And they're kind of middle of the zone, kind of middle in. That's a middle in pitch. When people say middle in, that's the worst place to throw a ball because every hitter likes a ball middle in. There's another one, middle in. And another base hit to center field. And the fastball, Pat, also didn't have a lot of life on it. You and I noticed that a lot of straight fastballs, yeah, they were 91, 92 miles an hour, but they weren't really moving a lot. This ball up in the zone again. This is actually away, but the fastball, again, was kind of the problem early on. Now, he settled down after that and kind of did a much better job. But, again, too many fastballs were hit hard. But, you know, the good news is, the good news is
he was our Hillitech King of the Hill because of the good off-speed stuff. The slider was working when he chose to throw it.
I love to finish with the good news. The slider was pretty good. I don't think he's got 25 sliders in his arsenal anymore. He just pulls out a few of them, and those are 2 or 3 good ones. The third one not quite as good as the first 2, but the sharpness of the slider, there's a pretty good one away, and there's a changeup actually, strike 3. He actually's had a pretty good changeup, more so than a slider in his last few outings. But if you look at the starter comparison between Wellemeyer and Campillo, as I like to say it, he certainly did. They both did well. I mean, you can't really say one was better than the other. Campillo probably had better stuff, and he's been a really good pitcher for this Braves club. And Pat, when did the Braves club go from Sheffield, Andrew Jones, and Chipper Jones 3, 4, 5 to Kotze, Norton, and Infante? I mean, I don't want to criticize those guys because they're big leaguers.
Yeah.
But they're not those other 3 guys.
No, they're not, and they lost to Shera today in a trade, too.
And
so
one of the other reasons we're probably a little harder on Wellemeyer today in terms of what we expected.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's still, you know, it's still okay.
And I'm guessing we'll probably hear from him coming up a little later. We'll hear from Tony La Russa as well. And don't forget, that trade deadline is Thursday afternoon. We'll talk about what the Cardinals might try to do. Stick around, more to come.